Good afternoon, sports fans. Friendly neighborhood Paul here, bringing you the next episode of Nostalgia on the Rocks, where myself and my lovely co-host sit down and we talk about the games of old, the games of new, and everything in between. And of course, I'm joined by my partner in crime, the best damn looking Tetris camp counselor this side of the Atlantic, Probably Oliver. How you doing, my man?
I got even two things I want to go with for the opening. I can either go with this week I got my 69th Tetris 99 win. 69
Nice.
Tetris 99 wins. But the thing I really wanted to mention, do you guys remember Diamond Dallas Page? Like WCW in like the 90s? Like
Yeah, DDP.
like threw the like hands up like that, diamond cutters all over the place. Oh man, like he popped in my head earlier today, and now I need to go down like a big old rabbit hole just to see every diamond cutter, every just going like that, and just hitting people out of nowhere. That dude was the best. That dude
I
was
love how we talked about the more you move, the blurrier your camera is, and you're just like, I'm moving everywhere. You're just trying to. I know what he's trying to do. So last episode, if you guys are watching this on the YouTube, is the fact that there was a little moment of technical difficulties that I very easily could have just like cut together and been fine, but I was like, nah, fuck that. We're gonna put a little like beep and then fucking roll into it. And so I'm waiting for that to happen this time because this is how it worked last time. Ollie was all blurry. We had a technical difficulty, crisp as hell after the fact. So we're just waiting on that jump cut to happen. But until then, allow me to introduce to you guys our other co-host. He is the Lure King, Waypoints' own Albob. How the hell are you, my man?
Doing great today. How are you guys?
Well, I mean, Saturday, as of recording this, good day. Good day for me, at least.
It's a long weekend for the UK.
Weekend.
It's a long weekend for the USA. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Now, for the uninitiated, here on Nostalgia on the Rocks, as the name would suggest, and as the little logo that sits in between me and Oliver and above Albob's head would suggest, we like to have ourselves a cheeky little drink. So we start off, as always, with Probably Oliver. What are you having?
This is hot off the press. This came to my house, got delivered literally about 20 minutes before we jumped into the Discord call. This is a brand new bottle. I've never had it before. I'm very, very excited. This is Viva Tequila.
Viva Tequila.
And it's a very fancy bottle. It's a very nice bottle. On the back, it's a tequila, but not as you know it. Here at Viva, we produce a range of super premium tequilas at the most awarded distillery in Jalisco, Mexico, for product quality and taste. So I'm very, very excited. I'm hoping we get a good pop. Let's break the seal.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a
lovely pop.
I hope that translated to audio because it was definitely like you could hear like the cork like getting stretched and then.
I mean, it came through in Discord, so
I'm assuming. So we're gonna go with that. And then of course Albob. Now of course, for anybody who's unaware, I know shockingly enough with my accent, I am actually an American Englishman. I hate to break this to you. So me and Ollie are both, it's okay for us to be drinking at this time of the day. Albob, although it's not quite 5 o'clock, we might just say fuck it. And, you're complimentary Englishman right now. So what are you drinking?
Yeah, I am drinking a Jameson and Werner's, which for the people that aren't in Michigan, Werner's is a better ginger ale.
Oh,
but I've had regular Jameson and Gingers, but regular ginger ale just does not taste as good as it does with Werner's. So,
okay.
I'm a lover of ginger ale. Werner's, is that
Vernos? But then I've also got this cool glass, Guinness glass, but my last name's etched into it.
Nice. Where did you end up picking that up from?
So, local bar. It's like because it's an Irish town that we're in. they actually had somebody from Guinness. They came to one of the stores and they're just giving out these glasses for free. You just had to be there. So I got one with my last name on it. I got one with my first name on it. And for a St. Patrick's Day party, I had drinks in both. So I could just walk up to people.
This is
show
my name.
Because originally it was just, one per person, but they just said, hey, if you want another, get it back in line. Because somebody wanted to get one for their brother. I was like, well, I'm just going to get one with my first name on it.
End it. Why not? Yeah, because I've got two kind of fancy glasses, like not the regular pint glasses. They're like I forget what they're called, but they got like the little stem neck, whatever. We got those when I was in Dublin. We got Mr. and Mrs. French on it because me and my wife were there for our 1-year anniversary, I think. Maybe, I don't know. It was there. We were there for some reason. I couldn't remember if it was for my birthday or our anniversary or something. I know it wasn't her birthday. I know that much. So I can't get in too much trouble. And I forgot it was our anniversary or just my birthday. Either way, we were in Ireland and we were having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Then I kind of took a step. My words are failing me today. Typically, here on the show, I am a Scotch connoisseur. Typically drinking single malts. I'm not like stuck up about it, or at least I try not to be, because I don't. It's whiskey. Like at the end of the day, if it's good, if you like it, then you like it. Doesn't matter how you like your whiskey, as long as you don't bastardize like a 25-year, then you're fine. But I bought this one, which is called Wars, I believe, which is a 12-year blended Scotch. Now, it's not a single malt. It's a blended, so in other words, it's just like they take a bunch of different stuff and they just kind of mix it all into one barrel, right? That's how you end up with a blended Scotch. It's the only difference between a single malt and a blended. Kind of pick and choose, which typically means that the blended have a more designed taste than a single malt will. Now, the whole reason I bought these was because it was in a gift set that came with these glasses. And I ain't gonna lie,
Ooh.
I just bought it for the cups. I bought it specific. Like this was. Here's the thing, right? It was $25. I didn't give it. I was like, the glasses alone would probably run me $20. So really, I just bought a bottle of whiskey for $5. So I'm like, all right, even if this is trash, I got 2 cool glasses out of it. So I am not above. It's better than when I have to go to the pub and palm one on my way out the door. Not that I would ever do that, and not that anyone in the UK would ever steal glasses from a pub. That is so not a thing that ever happens ever. I do not have glasses in my drink globe that came from a pub strictly because they had the Glenfiddich emblem etched on it. That is not at all how I got those.
No, but we're very well behaved here in the UK. Very well behaved, very sensible. We all everyone in the UK. We like to have like one drink, and then go home, bed by 9. That's how we do. That's how we do.
Yeah, we'll go with that. And now for the cork.
Oh.
Ooh.
Not bad. Not a bad nose. Not a bad nose. See how it is. It's a little paler than I'm used to, but at the same time, yeah, it's whiskey. Fuck it. So,
yeah,
everybody at home and to you two lovely gentlemen with me, here's to you guys. Thank you guys for being here. You guys all have a very safe and happy moment. Cheers.
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 Oh,
that's good.
All right, I don't even know. How's that tequila?
That is very, very, very special. That might be the best tequila I've ever had. That's and I am a fan of my tequila. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. That's
good. So to pull the curtain back a little bit here. Come July, I haven't even told Oliver this. Me and Oliver are going to be doing one of these live in person. We are going to be sitting in the same room doing this. We probably won't have a guest because Lord knows we'll have enough issues trying to do this show regardless. But I just want to be able to sit down and actually share a drink with you, considering how close we are, yet far apart we are. Like, probably Oliver, it turns out, is like 2 hours down the road. which for like the UK is a fucking is a journey for anybody living in the Midwest. That's not even a Sunday afternoon. That's I can make that in a weekend. That's a long weekend, like not even. So we're
That's a
gonna
day trip. It's
Yeah,
a
that's
nice
a day trip. That's a yeah. We leave the house at 10. We're there by noon. We drink. We leave by 7. I'm home by 9. What's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be one of those. I imagine how I'm in my head. I'm just gonna take him to a pub, get him real smashed, then get him on camera, get him saying some incriminating things, hold it over his head for a while, leverage it, and then go home.
Works for me. Works for me. That's
I say that. What's realistically gonna happen is we're gonna go over there. We're gonna record it. I'm gonna get schmammered and then have to sleep on his floor, and then maybe his couch. I don't know. No, use floor. I will give you one. You get one blanket and one cushion from the couch as a pillow. That's it. Oh man! But of course, this is Nostalgia on the Rocks, where we talk about the games of old, the games of new, and everything in between. So let's start off with what we are playing. Albob, I'm gonna kick it over to you first. What have you been playing recently?
Biggest thing recently has been Knockout City. Has been taking up a lot of my time this past week.
Oh, that game has no business being that good.
It's fun. It's fun.
Especially when you play with friends, because I find I play by myself for a bit just to check the shop every day, get a couple matches in, that kind of thing. But playing with friends, that is just something else in that game.
It's just like the goofiness for anybody who doesn't run through what Knockout City is for people who have no idea what it is.
Yeah. So for anybody that doesn't know, it's a game just about dodgeball, really, in its basic sense. And it's 3v3, and the main mode is best to 2 rounds, and just 10 points. Everybody has 2 hits, and then you're out. It's kind of a third-person shooter-esque, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say third-person shooter. At least that's how you aim and move.
Yeah. Kind of a platformer in some sense.
See, the way I've described it, or the way I've pitched it to people who I work with, is that game is essentially Sunset Overdrive meets dodgeball. Just like with the over-the-top wackiness of the movement and the jumping around, and not to mention the costumes and just just for the sheer costume factor alone, it's ridiculous. The fact that you can make 3 presets is kind of nice, so that way you can just cycle between them.
I think why it's so good is it's captured the magic in the same sense that a lot of multiplayer online games like that totally miss the mark on, but this I think goes down in the same league as your Rocket League and your Fall Guys and things like that, because it is so simple. I mean, at its core, Knockout City is 3 buttons. It's the left stick, it's L2, it's R2. There's other stuff to master and get involved with sort of thing and learn. But you can that's how simple it is, and it's so simple. It's so pick up and play, and it's even from the first game I played. I've not played loads of it. I've played maybe 4 or 5 hours, all told, in this kind of what they call it, the block party period, where it's free for everyone.
Free for 10 days.
10 days free.
But yeah, so I've played maybe 3, 4, 5 hours at most, sort of thing. But it's from the first game, it was just I get this. I understand what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. Same with Rocket League. Same with Fall Guys. It's from the moment you play it, you go, right, that's my objective. That's it. There's a difficulty curve there, but it's so good. And
God, the sweaties in that game. The sweaties in that game are fucking sweaty. They are good, and I'm why are you good at this?
We found that out when League Play opened up. Was it Tuesday? I think it was. And man, bronze was, everybody's kind of in bronze at that point. But man, you get up to silver, and that's where it's just way over my head.
Oh
But
man.
that work. I love that about it. Like I think it was last weekend. Me, Paul, and Joe Medforce were playing like for
Yep.
played like maybe a dozen or so games sort of
Yep.
thing. And like for like the first like 7 or 8 of those games, we were trouncing people. We were absolutely ruining people's days,
We
and
were
it felt
winning
so
like
good.
10-3 a round, and we were typically
Beautiful.
sweeping them. And it was just
And
like,
That's awesome.
And then the first team we came across that were better than us were so much better than us. And it
Yeah.
was like, but it didn't annoy me. I didn't finish that game and go, oh, this game's broken. This game's a mess. This like, like that's not fair. It was like, oh no, I need to get better at this. And yeah, I think it's like, I mean, for certain, like, I mean, it's, because I think it remains on Game Pass even after the 10 days, I think.
Right.
Like,
if you have Xbox Game Pass, you'll be able to keep going with that. And what I like about it is it came out the gate fully crossplay, and on top
And
of
cross
that,
progression.
cross progression as well. And then even on top of those two things, everything that you get in the block party carries over. This isn't a demo. This isn't the light version.
That's
this
awesome.
was a full game. So in theory, you could just burn through it, in that 10 days and unlock, everything in the initial battle pass. But it's like you could still go through it, and if you're playing on PlayStation, PC, or I think it's on Switch, maybe.
yeah, it's on Switch.
Then
Yep.
it's like, I believe it's like $20.
Mm-hmm.
So
That
like
sounds right, yeah.
even still, you're tiptoeing in that Fall Guys range where Fall Guys was like $15. Now, Ollie, you did bring up Rocket League. I am very interested to see what the legs are on this thing. I am super interested to see how the legs are. Because in theory, this game could be exactly like Rocket League, where you get a hardcore group of people, and like people can kind of keep jumping back into it because it's easy to pick up, but it's tough to manage. Same thing with Fall Guys, where it's like I can take a season off, come back, and yeah, sure, there's new levels, there's new crazy stuff, but like at the core mechanics are still the same. They're not reinventing the wheel every update. And I'm very interested to see if the community stays with Knockout City the way it has with, because I think it has the ability to. But
I think it's like no pun intended, but I think the ball is definitely in the developer's court at this point. Like it is,
Oh, for sure.
because it's like the same thing when Rocket League first came out. When Rocket League first came out, like it was bare bones. It was, there was nothing additional in there. There wasn't much to do in it past like the 2v2 or 3v3. I think like I don't think there was even 4v4 at that point when Rocket League first launched.
I not a snowball. I don't know. I would assume it was only 3v3, but
but it was bare bones. There was nothing. There wasn't much to it. And then I can't remember the developers of Rocket League now. I can't remember. Psyonix, that's the one. Like Psyonix went, okay, cool, and they like jumped in both feet and they went all in on it. And I mean now, I re-downloaded and like, because I was addicted to Rocket League for about 6 months to a year top sort of thing, and then sort of fell off. Like I was never like a pro at it sort of thing, so I fell off fairly quickly. And I re-downloaded it around about 6 months ago or so. That is not the same game. That is a different, and it's incredible. It's amazing. And like that's like Fall Guys have done it as well. Like Fall Guys, like season 1 was brilliant. Seasons 2 and 3, well, seasons 2 especially, really fumbled and like wasn't very good, and they didn't do enough with it. But like 3 and 4 picked the ball back up, and like they've gone all in with it again. Like they know what they're doing now, and like I think Fall Guys just continues to rise. If Knockout City does the same, if they realize, hey, if we want a hit on our hands with this, we need to go all in on it. Like if they go all in on it, they're like, yeah, sky's the limit for them. It's a very, very, very good game. Like it's just fun. It's just fun. It's what a video game is supposed to be.
Yeah, one thing to note about Fall Guys specifically, they did get backed from Epic Games between seasons 2 and 3. So
that was the thing, because they were, what were they like? It was a small development
Digital.
team. Yeah, Devolver Digital.
Media,
that was like
publisher.
A publisher. Sorry.
Mediatonic was the
Mediatonic. Yep.
And so yeah, like that was one of those games that like came out of nowhere. And once again, no business being as good as it was. Like it came out. It was like that. I just
Launched
remember
on
like
PS
that
Plus.
and Among Us were just like
Mhm.
why like
Was last
beans
summer,
like
yeah.
bean people just came out of nowhere, and they were just like things that people really love. Super high def, beautiful games, and people that look like beans. That's it. You don't need anything in
Yeah.
between. Garbage. But these are the pinnacles you need. It needs to be super good or bean shaped. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean that's the thing with Knockout City. It's EA behind it. Like and like Grant, like I mean,
Yeah.
say what you will about EA, like they've made a few questionable decisions in their time, but also like in the last year or two, EA are very clearly on like kind of they're on a tour to try and recover their image. And
I mean,
I mean, in the
they're
last week,
doing it. They're doing
they
it.
are, and I've not heard a bad word about Knockout City. No, like I've not heard anyone say. Yeah, granted, I know people who have like said like it's not for them, and that's fine. But I've not heard anyone go, "Oh, this sucks." Like
Mhm.
it's the way it's implemented is bad. Like it's just it worked. It
Yep.
worked out the gate. It worked, and like
Little to no
if
server issues either.
Yep.
absolutely,
I
like
think that was
I don't know
also the
if
block party thing. It was like they were able to like they opened because they did a beta a couple months back, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. And then after the beta, it was like, yeah, we're doing a block party, 10 days free, destroy the servers, do it, break it. And for the most part, they held. Like I know there was a
Mm.
few. Like I still get occasionally like server error at the top of the screen, but I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't know
It
what
doesn't
is
like kick.
what is wrong at the top of the screen that is like not allowing that's
Mhm.
but like there's been nothing like minus the occasional like somebody dropping out or something like that, but I've never had a moment where it was like I just couldn't get into the game or like I just couldn't play.
Yeah. Like Outriders.
Forgot about Outriders. I think the world forgot about Outriders. That game was hot for a
Yeah.
30 to 45 minutes.
The fact that I couldn't get in as a single player, like, come on.
So that was the other game you've been playing, Outriders?
No. The other, I'd say I've kind of been bouncing back and forth between other games because I've played a bit of Mass Effect, but just haven't had the time to really sink in a lot. Because I feel like Mass Effect's one of those games you want to have hours, so you can't just you can experience more at a time, not just like chunk here, chunk here, chunk here, chunk here. Like
That's one of those
so,
take, as the movie Dodgeball said, take your phone off the hook, lock the door, close the blinds. Dodgeball on ESPN The Ocho. That's what you gotta do with Mass Effect. Just take your phone off the hook, lock the door, order a pizza before you lock the door, and then you're set. Done.
exactly.
That's it. Just spend the
So
rest spend 12 to 48 hours just there. In the world.
yes, exactly. So instead of that, I've actually been playing a little bit of Returnal, just trying to get further in that game.
All right, so I'm gonna let you two talk about that.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna go grab a drink. I'll be back in about 45 minutes.
I said like well like before the show started I said to Albob I'm so excited to talk about Returnal because for the past couple of shows I have like sat here in a vacuum just going Returnal's amazing
It's so
and
good. I'm just like, all right.
everyone's just gone okay yeah,
Because
all right."
of
But
this thing right here,
oh it's
the
insane
DualSense.
it's insane
I heard the
it
controller's
just
kind of overhyped. I don't know. I don't know. Some
nope
guy who rides a bike in
No,
the snow said it was trash. I don't know.
nope
he clearly hasn't played Returnal because I
it's
mean it's
just so
something
good.
else.
I like as a progress for me on Returnal since the last show, I have now platinumed Returnal, and I have never like I think at the end of it, like I think 95 hours in that game,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
and I loved every damn second of it. Like, and
Mhm.
I have like normally like I mean I'm I like my trophies. Returnal was my 95th platinum. I'm very excited by it.
That's
Like,
awesome.
and normally when I platinum a game, that's it. I close the game, I delete it off. I'm like, sweet, perfect, brilliant. I've not deleted Returnal. I've not gone back to it yet, but I'm going to. Like, I like if I'm like that's going to be the kind of game for me that game is up there now with the Tony Hawks of the world. Like it is a I've got
Okay.
a half hour to kill. I'm gonna just see how far I can get in Returnal. Like,
Mhm.
and it's brilliant. It's whereabouts are you? Whereabouts are you, Albob? Like,
I haven't gotten past the third biome yet.
mhm.
I believe I've gotten to the boss once or twice, but yeah, it's just sometimes some of those enemies in the third biome, like the ones that just hover and just shoot homing rockets at you, like
Mhm.
those always seem to get me.
The third biome is probably, if not the hardest, then the second hardest in the game.
Mhm.
Like, but like, because that game is made for its boss fights. Like the boss fights
Yeah.
in that game are so hype, just so in, and like the no spoilers, but the boss in the third biome is probably my favorite boss in any video game ever.
Oh, that's cool.
It is insane. It is like, Paul, if you have no intention of playing this game, I fully recommend, like, after this, go on YouTube, just search Returnal Third Biome Boss and just watch it and just go, holy shit, how is this a thing? This is insane.
When you say insane. Let me try to like build this in my brain a bit. Now, is this insane in the same way that like Metal Gear bosses can be insane? Is this insane as in like
No.
you're fighting a fucking house in Final Fantasy VII Remake insane? Or is this like you're God, I'm trying to think of another ridiculous boss fight
It
thing.
reminds me
Or
of
is it
like
like
Bayonetta
God of
bosses.
War where you're fighting literal gods insane?
It's, yeah, like God of War esque. It's very like very Bayonetta, very Devil May Cry
Oh,
esque,
good
like
fucking lord. Okay, that
just
should
like
have been the other one.
so much
Yeah,
stuff.
Devil May Cry. That should have been
Yeah,
the other one I threw up there as an example because
but
those
just
boss fights are just
Mhm.
why, how, what's no thank you.
there is
No
like
mas.
at any point, like any fight you're in Returnal, there is so much stuff happening on screen. Like so many projectiles, so many different colors are just coming your way and just exploding over the screen. And like with the third boss, like you're on a bunch of like kind of floating platforms that you have to like hook shot your way between because they're exploding at all points because the boss is blowing them up with a million projectiles every 5 seconds, and it's just insane. It's
Yeah,
I've
it
never known
sounds
anything like it.
bonkers. It sounds
It's good.
bonkers.
It's like, and again, like I mean, I said it like I said it last time, but it was. I think last time I literally just rolled credits on it, so it was very much like
Yeah,
recency
I remember.
bias. But
Yeah, I remember you saying
um,
something about that. Yeah, you like had just
I'm
rolled credits last.
but I'm happy to double down at this point, like with a little bit of time like separated. This game will be my game of the year. This game will be number one. I can't see anything even coming close. I genuinely think this deserves a place in the conversation for one of my, you know, if I was to actually sit down and do, let's say, a proper serious, say, top 20 games of all time, I think Returnal's on it. I think it could
Oh,
potentially be top
wow.
10. It is. I love it.
see
It's
you.
brilliant.
You saying game of the year, I would honestly like. I'm trying to run because we're almost in June, and I'm trying to run
Mhm.
through my brain of what games have come out this year
Not
that were
much.
like big blockbuster hits, and I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
honestly
Hitman.
struggling. Hitman, you had
Mhm.
Monster Hunter, which if that's not your jam, that's not your jam, and not to mention it was Nintendo Switch and
Yeah.
like I'm not putting Mass Effect on it because Mass Effect is in essence a remake. It's a
Yeah.
remake. It doesn't really count. It's a
I mean, it's a
trilogy connection.
remaster. It's not.
It's
It's not even a remake. It's a
remaster.
coat of paint.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Sorry.
It's
It
a
was.
look.
Yep.
I always mix up remake remaster. So it's a remaster of it. So, and as much as I love that game and as much as I'm having fun with it, I understand that
Mhm.
putting that it's game of the year. No, it's not. Well, it shouldn't be. If it is game of the year, then it hasn't been a bad year for games. Um,
Yeah.
but like I know the back half of the year is currently still loaded with games. We'll see which ones come out, and we'll see what how well they do. But like, yeah, I'm sitting here. I'm trying to think because Outriders was a miss. And
It's a
like that,
fun time.
it was a miss. It was a miss. It had an idea, but it just in my mind it just didn't deliver. Like I just could not care. I could not care. I tried caring. I have a buddy, Super Dog, who was like in on that game. He was like been watching it. He's been ready for it, and it just missed the mark for me. I'm like, I want to like this game. It's just, but
Yeah.
I think, like, granted, like, I mean, because we're gonna get into it, like, when we get into the topic, like, we're gonna talk E3 anyway, like, and potentially like some predictions and stuff for this year, like, so maybe there is other stuff that's like big stuff that's coming this year. But like, we had the Horizon event this year. Horizon could have been Game of the Year, but the fact that they've kind of
they didn't put out a release date.
It's not coming this year. Like, it is.
See, this is something that they hinted at, because at the end of the PlayStation blog, they said release date, or not release date, but you'll know soon.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
they
Summer
are
Game Fest,
so the
June
Summer
10th.
Game Fest. The Summer Game Fest confuses me. So very confused because they have PlayStation and Xbox, yet there's a Sony. Does Sony have a separate conference happening? And Xbox,
not that I know of.
Oh, Sony. Oh no, it was Xbox. That's what it was. Xbox and Bethesda have their own separate conference, yet they have games going to be at the Summer Game Fest. So I'm like, okay, are they just going to sprinkle in some lesser titles there?
Funnier thing is,
big stuff.
The funnier thing is, both Summer Games Fest and E3 retweeted or quote tweeted.
They both kind of claimed ownership over it.
They both claimed it.
And it was like your divorced parents were like kind of like trying to goad you into coming to their house for Christmas. Yeah. It was like
that is the best analogy I have ever heard. It's just like mom and dad want you to come to theirs for Christmas. We're like I said, we're gonna get into that topic a little bit later. Yeah, so you knock out in Returnal.
One last thing real quick. Like last night, I planned to play Mass Effect, but just started playing into it. Wasn't quite feeling it that night, so jumped back into Miles Morales to start wrapping up things for the Platinum.
That's an incredible game.
I gotta ask because I've been kind of bouncing back and forth on it. Should I wait and play that on PS5 or should I just play it on PS4?
Wait.
I would personally say wait, but I know the way the situation is. If you really want a Spider-Man game, play Miles Morales, because I have a feeling that because Miles Morales plays so much differently than Peter Parker does, I don't know if going back to playing just plain old Peter Parker is going to feel as good.
Fair enough.
So I again, lucky enough, like as same with Albob, lucky enough to get a PS5. I got Miles Morales when it came out, played it, loved it, adored that game. Very fucking special game. Friend of mine literally just like played it and wrapped it up on PS4 a couple weeks ago, and he had a terrible time with it because he had a bunch of bugs, he had a bunch of glitches, he had a couple of hard crashes on PS4, and he was like,
really?
Yeah, and I didn't have a single issue. Like, I think I had one or two like minor bugs, but not the kind of like immersion breaking bugs, just sort of like, you know, I've sort of clipped through something when I shouldn't, sort of thing. Nothing that took me out of the moment. Like, and based on that like he was kind of sour on the game. He was like, yeah, it's a really good story, but didn't love it.
The reason I said play a PS4 is because another member of Waypoint, Chris, Rumblepack92, he actually just played it on PS4, and he loved the game. Said he had barely any issues.
Yeah, but I mean, can you really trust Rumblepack? I mean, what I hear is just
fair point.
He's okay from what I understand, but like I've also heard some pretty damning things about like, you know, the people that he hangs out with and the and stuff that he talks about. Just, you know, we're not gonna get into it here. This isn't a probably end up having him on the show here whenever we get through the. We need to talk about our list of guests to have on here.
You should have seen his reaction to me when I told him I was going to be on the show before he was.
Oh man, Actually, now I want to know. Is he mad?
He said because he told me that he's been messaging you guys, and it's like I'm just like, I'll be on whenever you need me.
I can't wait now. I can't wait to get Rumblepack on here and on the first week he says just like, fuck Bobco. Like just
Now,
like,
now here's the thing, though. There's Albob. There's a reason I brought you on over Rumble to talk about E3. I actually trust your opinion when it comes to E3 stuff. You seem like you're He is big into the Star Wars and overhyping shit like a motherfucker.
Yep.
I feel like you were a bit more sensible with it, so you're not gonna be like, oh, you know what I'm gonna have? Know what they should do with E3? What I would love? EA is gonna come out and this Star Wars game that came out back in 1995 that you could only play on like this little thing. It had a great story. It had like 6 graphics. 10 people bought the game, but they should really remake this game. That's how I imagine he would do it. That's not at all how he sounds, by the way. I don't know why I did that voice, but that was what that voice was. I was just like, it's almost like I did Fran for a second. Like I just did a bad Fran impersonation. No, I did an impersonation of Nick doing Fran. That's what I did. I did a bad Nick impersonation of him doing an impersonation of Fran, which is, God, we're on a tangent. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yes, we are.
Oh, but jump back into Miles Morales. That's good stuff.
Oh yeah, dude, it is like, because last night I was just doing more like just clean up for the platinum before I actually started the new game. Plus, today I started it this morning, and it's such a good game. Like, it's the swinging mechanic in those Spider-Man games. They just nail it.
When
you have all your upgrades and power-ups, like,
oh yeah,
you can just fly through New York City. Like, who cares about fast travel?
That was what was crazy. It was like I forgot that game had fast travel. Like I spent no time whatsoever fast traveling. I think I did it once just to see what the subway scene was because I heard like it's kind of fun. But like, typically speaking, like unless I absolutely had to, like I was a time crunch, I was swinging my way through there. But just because like drop and the music swells and you do like the cool backflips and the barrel rolls and
especially in Miles Morales, that music.
It's
that hip hop vibe in there.
Yeah, it's just such a joy to play. Like that's just because they did. Like, I mean, I like. And the thing I love about Miles Morales is because I loved Spider-Man a couple years ago. I don't think like a lot of people were very much like this is a 10 out of 10. This is a brilliant game. Like I wasn't. I was a little more lukewarm on it. I really loved it. I loved the story. I loved the mechanics of everything. But I also thought that game had a lot of fat on it. Like the first time you stop a crime where you like stop a car by like grabbing the hood and pushing it down and then picking it was like the first time you did that, awesome. The 20th time you did that, you're like, oh, okay, fair enough. Like I'm seeing the cracks in this. Like
I see your point. Your opinion's still wrong, but I see your point.
But no, I mean, I did. I absolutely adored that game. Loved every minute of it. But there was like moments where I was like, "All right, video game, this is not. I am not. You have taken me out of the moment a little just by the fact." And like the fucking science puzzles in that game. Like I didn't want to like match 2 lines into too big a like. Fuck that. That was awful. Like it was. Like it was
all right. I give it to
shame.
You. Yeah, I give it to you. There was all right. I'll give you credit on that one. Doing the science stuff and the thing that was kind of that was a bastard. But
Miles Morales has none of
cuts
that.
The fat. It cuts all of
it
that.
Is, and because of that, it's a much shorter game. Like it's I think like. The first time you play it, I think it's but 10 hours, I'd say. Like the first time you play through that game, like when you're doing on New Game Plus, you'll complete it in around about 3 to 4. Like it's a short game. You can
skip all the cutscenes afterwards.
Yeah. Like, but because it trims all the fat, it's just streamlined. It's a joy to play. It's a joy to run through. Like, and I just think like based on like the kind of the foundations laid by Spider-Man 2018. And then the kind of improvements by Miles Morales. Spider-Man 2 is going to be incredible. That game is going to be a 10 out of 10. It's going to be perfect because it's going to be the mechanics of Miles Morales stretched out to a full like kind of say 20 to 25 hour experience.
I am super interested to see how they handle that game. Because with the Easter eggs that they laid in the first one, and then obviously like I haven't played Miles Morales. I saw a bit of gameplay just from different streamers playing it, but like the differences in the game and wondering, okay, how are they going to balance that? Because they split, obviously the gameplay between in Spider-Man between Peter, Miles, and MJ, but they all felt very different. Even though MJ and Miles kind of felt very real similar, but not the same, not quite. But it was close enough to the same where it's like, all right. But how they're going to do that in the next one, where you have Peter, Miles also plays Mary Jane. Is there, what other, are we going to get more spider characters brought into it? I really fucking hope we don't, because the spider family, it is fucking
I think
huge. Like
my big prediction for Spider-Man 2 is that there is going to be a third playable character, and it is who is in the post credits of Spider-Man 1. Like, I think that's who, like, because can we, it's a 3-year-old video game. Spoilers for Spider-Man 1. I will keep waving my hands until I have stopped spoiling Spider-Man 1. If you're not happy, mute the stream until my hands are down. Like, Harry as Venom, not Eddie Brock.
No.
I think we are playing as Harry. I think we are playing as Venom symbiote Harry for a part of Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 2.
God, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel about it.
Can't wait.
I like the idea of turning it on its head, but at the same time, like,
I think it was that way in the Ultimate Comics.
No,
Or
Eddie
the
Brock.
game, maybe?
No, Eddie Brock definitely got it because it was a cancer thing. In the Ultimate Comics for an alternate, you can put your hands down. We're talking about some other but and not to mention anybody who is, it's a 3-year-old game. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry if you wanted to play it. If you really wanted to play the game, play the game at this point. Like, sorry. But anyway, but like in the Ultimate Comics, Eddie Brock gets it because he.
Maybe a show. I remember somebody saying
it was something to the extent of Eddie Brock was a college kid who was working on something that like Peter Parker's dad and his dad worked on for like cancer. I'm very paraphrasing this. This is from a little while ago. I think Comic Pop is the video I watched where they were talking about it. And like he made the thing, but the thing didn't work, and it just kind of turned into this goo, and then it became Venom, and that was what Venom was. It wasn't like a space alien thing. It was just like this anti-cancer thing that infected Eddie Brock that he tried to make. And like when Peter was like, yeah man, I don't think that's how that works, like I don't think it's gonna work that way, he was like, no, you're just trying to take all the credit. And then fucking science happens, as is all things in the Spider-Man comics. Somebody's like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that. They're like, fuck you, you don't know. Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Lizard, everybody. Science is bad. That's essentially what Spider-Man's about. Like, hey, don't fuck with science.
Are we going to get Kurt Connors in Spider-Man 2? We're going to get Kurt Connors in Spider-Man 2.
You have to.
Oh, man.
He wasn't in the Sinister Six. I feel like
they
have to.
referenced him?
There is references.
They referenced him in the college party, if I'm not mistaken. Like, the Lizard Man, I believe, was there. Or, like, they had, like, somebody dressed as the Lizard. If I'm not, I just remember shirtless Spider-Man in that scene. I'm now blanking it. I want to say he was in there because there was like somebody dressed as Mysterio.
I think
which is the weirdest thing because like they take Spider-Man and they make him. He's like, nah, we're not. No one cares about year 1 Spider-Man. We're going to like we're going like year 6. Like everybody knows it's like Batman's origin. We don't need to go for Batman's origin. We fucking know. Moving on. We're a few years in. We can skip all like the learning curve stuff. He's just Batman. Same thing here. It's like he's already Spider-Man. He's been doing this shit for a minute. He's got this stuff, which is lovely. Which is really cool how they play with all that, with all the history and the lore and how they change it up. Like Black Cat's thing, I think was great. I loved her in the DLC. Love that DLC, especially for her stuff. Which is why I still hate that they made Peter Parker. I don't care what the fuck they say. I don't care what Sony says. I don't care what Insomniac says. They got knockoff Tom Holland in there. That's exactly why he looks that young.
I think I am the only person in the world who likes new Peter Parker.
There's a lot of people who like new Peter. There are people who like new Peter, and they're like, "Oh, he looks better." Like you guys think the old Peter looks better. That's just because it's like, well, there's a graphical update for the PS5, That's why he probably looks a little better. But at the same time, he looks too fucking young because he looks like he's 21, maybe 20, but he's also supposed to be graduate. He's supposed to be like a college graduate and been like out and about for a bit, so he should be like closer to 30, not closer to 20, which is why the timeline doesn't make goddamn sense. Which is why Spider-Man hasn't made sense in the comic books for decades. Because he's like, they can't ever decide how old they want Peter Parker to be. He's like, oh, Peter Parker's a young kid. He's a whippersnapper. He's like, he is a college graduate, like, smart person. Like, why is he still dealing with relationship nonsense? This is not a soap opera anymore. Turn the page. We get it. Anyway, we're way
That's
off
how you
topic.
really feel.
I on Spider-Man, like, because I know
you do it, Albob.
like,
I will tell. We got Rumble in the rafters, maybe. We're just gonna superimpose him over the top of your thing.
Just gonna like, because I mean, like, right. Full disclosure, this is the first Nostalgia on the Rocks in like 3 or 4 episodes where I don't have a hard out. So I am like, you know, I can go into some questions. Where, like, Paul, I know you're a big Spider-Man fan. I know I'm a big Spider-Man fan. By the sounds of it, Albob, you're a big Spider-Man fan as well. Spider-Man 2, who's your dream villain? Just one. Just one. Who would be like, oh shit, that's awesome? For me, like,
yeah, you go.
Give me Kraven.
You son of a bitch! I was about to say Kraven. Damn it! I was like, dude, Kraven
the Hunter.
Kraven, because they don't reference him.
Cool.
I want Kraven the Lad. Oh my god! All right, Spider-Man 2. Here's what happens. Right? Here's what happens. You're with me? You're with me?
Ready. I'm ready.
Kraven. Kraven's in the game. Kraven's your first. He is kind of like Mr. Negative in this game, right? Where he's like your villain for the first half, right? Kraven is like, he is all about trying to take down Spider-Man. He's been, you know, he's killed all the other animals in the world, the Animal Kingdom, blah, 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 Apex Hunter, going after Spider-Man. Spider-Man at first is like, all right, crazy guy, what are you gonna fucking do, right? Kraven beats him. Kraven puts him in the ground. Miles then has to go after Kraven. And that's your second part. So you play as Miles in the second part, trying to find Peter because Kraven has him like down and buried. Black Cat comes into play because Black Cat was originally in the Kraven's Last Hunt. And then you get Kraven. Kraven's beat Spider-Man. He's like wearing the suit because he's like, I am Spider-Man. Haha. Like, and that's where you get the black suit coming into play where he's like pretending to be Spider-Man. And then Miles is like, who the fuck are you? You're not Spider-Man. And, like, you have Miles and him fight, and then, like, that then leads to them finding Peter. Peter's been hooked up to a thing to, like, to augment Kraven's abilities or some nonsense like that. You spin it to that way to where, like, that's why Kraven's able to kind of, like, get better. Like, he beats Spider-Man, but then, like, uses Spider-Man's bullshit, like, science-y comic book nonsense to get better. Mm-hmm. And then that's how you get Venom. Because Harry Osborn, that goo that you see that we think is Venom is just going to be Green Goblin. And they mix the Goblin with the spider nonsense and you get Venom. And then that is how Venom comes into...
Oh, you'd love to hear it.
That is not at all how that game is going to fucking play out. But man, you can't tell me that's not a solid fucking pitch. You sprinkle in a couple of the other rogues gallery that wasn't in there. You know, you had Shocker. You get Mysterio back. You get like one of the other Mysterios because Mysterio's been played by a few different people because Mysterio's died in the comics and like been played by other people because it's a big fucking fishbowl on your head. Why not?
Yeah.
Anyway, we got Shocker in Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, we got Shocker, but that's what I mean. Like he wasn't part of like the Sinister. Was it? No.
No. He was just robbing a bank.
Yeah. But like he comes in there as a little bit, and so you sprinkle in some of the other rogues. Yeah, there wasn't part of the Sinister Six. You sprinkle him in there. You throw Boomerang in there. Why not? Let's get a little fun with it for no other goddamn reason than because you can. But yeah, you just start getting a couple like the other like smaller villains, and like they're all just doing like little stuff. You don't have to have the big thing like Shocker robbing a bank. You have Boomerang, like trying to do something at the docks. You have, I'm trying to name a thing. Think of another. You have Stiltman trying to like rob something over here. Like you just have a bunch of like small time villains. The Prowler, who's the Prowler? Do they talk about him and Miles Morales at all? They do. Yeah. Damn it! Need to play the game now. Is he like a big key point in that one?
But
Son of a bitch! Never mind. I'm gonna leave Prowler out. Prowler's not in the game. Albob's just nodding like, yep.
What I love about like this Insomniac, like the universe they're building, like with the Insomniac games, is that they have already pulled some like C tier villains, like fucking like Tombstone. Who gave a fuck about Tombstone until 28? Like, and it was like, don't get me wrong, wasn't the best part of the game, but was a good fucking awesome. Like, awesome, like kind of.
They gave Tombstone a personality.
Yeah, like, and that's what I love. And so, like, you're right. Like, I mean, yeah, you could have like Boomerang's a stupid villain.
Yeah. You start busting out all of the DC-list fucking nonsense villains who are like just raid Stan Lee's fucking like all of his like just random Spider-Man villains that he made for one-off comics when Spider-Man was just like, show up, beat the bad guy, go home. Show up, beat the bad guy, go home. Worry about how you're gonna pay rent or whatever Spider-Man comics were back in the old days. Just use those. Start digging into the gold and silver age of fucking Spider-Man. Just have fun with some of the lesser villains because they made up. I feel like they made up Screwball. I don't know if Screwball was in the comics at all.
Screwball's new in the comics. Screwball, literally in the last like 5 years.
But that's
she's brand new.
But that's the thing. It's like fucking Screwball, a vlogger. Who cares? They made her fun, which I appreciate the fact that you didn't have to get gold and all those to get the trophy for it. I appreciate the shit out of that. I was really waiting on that to be a bastard, but thankfully it wasn't. Yeah, like it's all of the you just start digging into some of the bad, like some of the like smaller villains, and give them a personality. Rewrite them. Who's gonna get mad? Oh, the Boomerang fans who are big fans of Boomerang, get out of here. Get out of here. I can't wait.
When does that game come out? When do we see Spider-Man 2?
We will find out this year at E3. That's going to be my call.
Should we talk about some E3?
Yeah, let's talk about E3 because Mass Effect's great. Play Mass Effect. I've just beat Mass Effect 1. We're playing. I just started Mass Effect 2. Oh, that's so good. I did not understand. I didn't know how much I wanted frame rate over quality until I played Mass Effect. I did not understand. I was like, why frame rate quality, whatever. Nope. Because in that game you can select quality or graphic quality or frame rate. Frame rate is it's fucking butter. I understand now why PC dorks are so like up their own ass when it comes to fucking like 175 frames a second. Like I get it now.
Miles Morales was that game for me that made me realize
like quality
between fidelity and performance, like that game in 60 frames per second is something else.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect.
And load times are broken. Like it's funny because one of my the mod, the myth, the legend, the CEO of Rampage, we were playing Mass Effect 2, and I laughed because you got to take the elevator in that one to obviously get around, but you would take the elevator, kick you out to a loading screen, and going from the main deck in Mass Effect 2, Captain's Quarters, like that. Literally, the loading screen pops up and then goes away. Like, that's how quick. And I fucking died laughing. Because I'm like, what is even the point of having the loading screen anymore? And Rampage was just like, nope, I can't read the tips now. Bad game. Bad. It's too fast. It's too fast. I can't read tips.
Like, now in Mass Effect 1, yeah, it's the press X to skip the elevator ride.
Dude, it's so, like, Mass Effect 1 was huge. Mass Effect 2 is still the same shit. Like, you hop in the elevator, you're loaded in. You go somewhere, you're loaded in. And it's just, like, they still show you the cutscene of you, like, flying into Omega. I'm pretty sure you could probably skip those as well. Like, it's just, it's so good.
The PS5 is even crazier, honestly, because that's what I've been playing on.
Series X. Xbox, best box. I
want to just quickly little inside baseball sort of thing for the next episode, because I've not had much of a chance with Mass Effect yet. I've played around about 3 hours of Mass Effect 1. As you know, never played them before. I'm loving it. I really, really genuinely love it. I've just not had a chance to really deep dive into it. I've got no plans. I'm off of work this week. I've got no plans until Thursday. So the next few days I'm going to be playing a lot of Mass Effect. For the next episode, Mass Effect episode, I want a guest who knows everything about Mass Effect. I just want to talk about Mass Effect.
Jim Tasty.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jim Tasty's up there. I know Bill Dorr, he's big into it right now. Trying to think. Nauza's big into it. Fuck, we already had him on though. We can't double up guest already. We're only like we're like 7 episodes deep. We can't do that. I don't even know which episode this is. I think it's 7.
7, so yeah, 7 sounds right.
Yeah, 7's about. But yeah, like it's. I want to. Next, are you streaming it or are you just playing it offline?
No, just playing offline. I started streaming it. I played around about 2 or 3 hours streaming it. Was really enjoying streaming it, but then it was very much like that thing that I started to get really into it, and so I was like, I'm not making good content right now because I really just want to drink this in. Like,
you know what? Next time you play that, just share that screen on Discord, and I want to hop in. I just want you. I want to be there to just so you're like, what the fuck am I looking at? And I could be what Beard in the Hair was for me with Bloodborne, which I don't know what movie, but like how he was just explaining everything as it was happening. That's kind of what I just want to do. Is just to get your raw reactions to things. And just sit and talk to you about it. Like, oh yeah, it's like, wait, why is this person important? Well, see this person, this, and how they connect in here, or like, da. It's just like, oh god, Mass Effect is just, it's like an onion. There's just so many layers to that fucking game. So good. And like, I'm still learning things. Hang on, one last guy. Well, yeah, if you gotta.
I was gonna say, keep talking Mass Effect. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
All right. There is Billy the Door opened my eyes to something that I didn't fucking know could happen. Neither did Rampage, who is a big Mass Effect fan, and I think even Mixa, who is also another mod in my channel, didn't know about. You can play Mass Effect 1 without Garrus.
Oh, yes, I was in with that stream, yeah.
So, for anybody who doesn't know, Garrus is what is classified, he is the personification of a ride or die motherfucker. That dude is in 1, 2, and 3 if you let him. Like, if in 2, spoiler alert for a game that came out forever ago, Mass Effect 2 is a suicide run. So there is a way for you to go through that game and everybody dies. Everybody dies. Or you can have a way where some people live, some people die, or where everybody lives. I typically go all or nothing. Everybody lives, everybody dies. Those are the only ways to play that. Love it so much. But and like it's him and Tali Zora Vas. Oh, Tali.
I couldn't tell you.
She changed. Technically speaking, she changed her first game. It's like Tali Zora Vas something with an R. But in the second game, where if they try to kick her out, her name becomes Tali Zora Vas Normandy. Your last name for the Quarians are the ship that you're on, because they're like a migrant. They live on ships.
Gotcha.
So like that's what the Voss is. So it's kind of like whenever somebody would be like, your last name is the city that you're from. So like that was kind of how it is. So Tali Zora Voss Normandy in some of them, because she's like, oh, they gave me that name as an insult, as a way to like distance myself from the fleet, but I'm taking it as my own. I am like, the Normandy is my home, which is one of like the best, like, I love that. But like him and her are with you in every game. Like they can be your companions in every game, be a part of your crew. Tali Zora Naraya says Aaron Guard, thank you so much, appreciate it. But yeah, they change up. Like I said, they change up her name depending on where you go with it. But yeah, I love it so much, and I love that series. But Garrus dying in 2 makes 3 super fucking weird. And the fact that you can play through 1 without him makes me wonder, what the hell does Mass Effect 2 look like? Starting off wise with him.
Oh, yeah.
Because like your whole thing is like just like old times. That is Garrus in Mass Effect 2, because you and Garrus run through it. to the point where there is a graphic novel in the beginning of it drawn by Dark Horse Comics. Because the original Mass Effect was an Xbox exclusive. Mass Effect 2 was for Xbox and PlayStation. So for the PlayStation people, you could download this DLC, and that way you could make the choices from Mass Effect 1 without having to play. Super nice. Super nice. Especially because Mass Effect 1 is unfucking playable. The original, pain in the ass, it's unplayable. So just jumping into Mass Effect 2, it's way easier. Anyway, in the Dark Horse comic, Garrus is there built in right away. Like, they talk about the other characters, you know, Garrus, Rex, Tally, you know, everybody. But it hits a certain point in that little graphic novel where they stop talking about human companions and Rex, because technically speaking, they may not be there at that point in the story. So they focus on Liara, Tally, and Garrus. So if Garrus isn't there, what the fuck happens? Like,
I don't know.
Like, that's such a weird thing. And I was like, all right, Billy, it seems I need to, like, tune into your stream when you do that live.
The Mass Effect 2 one, yeah.
Yeah, the Mass Effect 2 Renegade run, I need to see what the hell happens. And, like, what is going on in that world without Garrus being there. Like, how him and Shepard's relationship is. Because that's just fucking wild to me. But yeah, like, that's what I mean. Like, Mass Effect has so many weird twists and turns that you don't know. Mass Effect 3, perfect example. There's a way in that game, Gordon Solis, who is a Solarian scientist, he is in that game. He is one of the people who originally did the genophage, which is a disease that sterilized the Krogan, or like it dropped their birth rate from like a lot to very little. Like one in 1,000 Krogan get born, right? He was a part of that original team. He defends it in Mass Effect 2, like every time you ask about it. He's like, had to do it, we had to do it, we had to do it, we had to do it. In the third game, he's making a redemption. So he's trying to cure the genophage. And like you talk to him about it, and when you're doing a renegade run, you're like, you always defended the genophage, like you always said it was needed, and then he says, because I was wrong. Which is fucking huge for him, because one of his lines that he says all the time is like, had to be me. Else could have gotten it wrong. And the fact that he is like I'm doing this because I was wrong, admitting he was wrong, so fucking crazy. And he dies in 3, no matter what.
Thanks.
Or so I thought. There's a way for that son of that game came out forever ago. I'm sorry.
I know.
But like, there's a way for him to live. There's a way you can make it to where he doesn't die. You have to do very specific things at specific times.
Oh,
but
I'm
like,
sure.
There's a way for him not to go up in the elevator and die. And I'm like, how? And it was just like, I watched the clip on YouTube because I was scrolling through, and obviously when you watch enough Mass Effect stuff, they're like, Gordon Solis lives. And I'm like, all right, what clickbait bullshit is this? Holy shit, he actually lives. What? And it's just like, it threw me for a fucking loop. And
that's what I love. Like, that's what I'm so excited to like get into with Mass Effect. Like, because as I say, a couple of hours in, really loving it. And like loving it very much, even though that Mass Effect 1 is, it's janky, but I love it. Like, it's, and because I can play it with the old game as old.
2 and 3 is so much. 2 and 3, even in the remake, is so much better. Like Mass Effect or remaster or whatever.
The fact that, like, you know what? I mean, what year did Mass Effect 3 come out? What?
2012, I believe. 2012, 2011.
Yeah. Coming up 10 years after that game came out, and like, you know, even super fans like yourself, Paul, are still finding out new things about that game. It's kind of like, it's almost mythical, that game. It's like the fact that, like, because I know so many little bits about that game just like from osmosis alone, sort of thing. but it's the kind of thing I don't really retain that information because I have no context for it. Like you saying like that character dies no matter what but can live. You said that name 2 or 3 times. I've already forgotten it, sort of thing. Like it doesn't. I don't have any context for
when
him.
you get to the second game, you will 100% know who I'm talking about, and you will either fucking hate him or you will love him. Hate him, you're terrible. You love him, you are right.
but that's like because like I mean like I've always really loved like the Telltale Walking Dead games, and it's like that's the reason that I love them, because it's like the big example of those games is Kenny. Kenny in my games was the absolute fucking boy. I loved him. He was the coolest. He was like my ride or die till the end. Like
he was Garrus.
And like
he was Garrus.
but like other people that I've spoken to about that game are like, fuck Kenny. Like Kenny was the worst, and I'm like, that's amazing. Like the fact that we played the same game and like, you know, like we both got to the same end point, but so different journeys. Like I can't wait for it. Like I'm so excited to like dive in on that game. Like
legitimately, whenever you go live with it, just shoot me a message and be like, hey, I'm going live in the Discord if you want to hop in and watch a bullshit for me. I'll be more than happy to sit there and just be over your shoulder like, bruh.
I can do that. No, I can't wait.
Okay.
I can't wait. Good game. Good game.
So I guess, you know, an hour in, we should probably get to the topic. I love how this show originally started off as like, yeah, we'll be like an hour. Like, we could probably do an hour, right? Like, it might be tough, but we can get it an hour. Now it's like, fuck, I don't know, man. We have to cut a lot. We got to stay on point to keep it at an hour. But that's what Nostalgia on the Rocks is. Like, it's just a group of people coming together, having a drink. It was very similar to a sports show I used to do back in the day on like actual radio, where the idea pitched to me was, yeah, we're not ESPN, we're not SportsCenter. We are 4 guys who showed up at a bar and started talking sports. And that's 100% what this is. It is a handful of guys who got together. Well, not even guys. A handful of jabronis who got together and just had a drink and started talking about video games. That's what we are. Oh, yeah. God damn it, I love it. But we're going to move on to the main topic of the show, which, of course, is E3 hype moments. Now, I'm going to leave this kind of up to you guys, because do you guys want to talk about the E3 hype of the past, or do you want to speculate on what E3 might be this year, or do you just want to do a little bit of both?
I'm good for a little bit of both. Like I want to like you saying like before the show that you never got madly into E3 until 2019. Like I'm similar. Like 2015 was like my first like E3 that I paid attention to. Like before that, I've like spoken about it before. I always liked video games, but they were sort of a very part-time hobby. Like I was never into the industry side of things. I was never into like anything like that. I just liked playing video games sometimes. Like, and it was, you know, around about when did I get the PS4? 2014, 2015. That's when I kind of like went like, oh no, wait, video games now are doing things that I didn't think were possible. This is like that was the kind of like moment where it kind of crossed that I started to prefer video games to movies, sort of thing. Was like movies aren't holding my attention, video games are, because I'm in control. And like that's when I kind of like got really into like the industry side of things. Like 2015 was like the first E3 that I really paid attention to, which, and every year since, it's like E3's like, it's just video game Christmas. It's so much fun, like the hype around it, just, and like a lot of the things, like, you know, looking back, like if you look back on like old E3s, like in like today's filter, you can kind of pick out and go, why was that so hype? Because the game was fucking awful, or stuff like that. Like, but in that one moment, it's like, oh, let's fucking go. Like, oh, they're announcing Shenmue 3. Like, oh, that's amazing. I've never played Shenmue 3, but I fucking popped when they announced Shenmue 3. Like, it's stuff like that. It's that's what I love about E3, and I'm like, I'm really excited for this year's E3 because, like, they took last year off pretty much entirely. Like last year's like summer, like the Summer Games Fest was just
it was weird.
It was weird. It was impossible to keep up with. It was like there was no structure to it. There was nothing to it. And like this year, it seems like, oh no shit, like they've got like set dates, they've got like set times, they've got like set like a structure to it. They've got fucking hosts doing it. Like it's like they seem to have actually kind of pulled their act together in this sort of like quote unquote new world that we're in now because of the world as it is, sort of thing. Like, so I'm excited for it. Like, I don't know how many like incredibly hype moments we're gonna get, but I know we're gonna get a few. And like, yeah, like that was for this week's episode, like where this is the last episode before E3 kind of kicks off into gear. I just like wanted to like just talk about like sort of like moments that have happened in like years past that are like, oh, this was cool. This was cool as fuck. Like, regardless of how, like, whether or not it lived up to the hype that was there in that specific time. Like, I just like hype. I just like getting like,
Yeah.
just getting excited for shit.
Okay,
like,
well, what's your big, what is like, you remember being like really hyped for a game? Like E3 hit, like you're like, holy, like, not, you don't have to get like number one, but just like a few of them that maybe like that stick out in your mind of like, dude, like when this was announced, you were like, holy shit.
It was the Final Fantasy VII remake. That for me is, I mean, again, like long-term fan of like Final Fantasy. Like when I say like I was like, you know, I wasn't massively into video games. I had a PS2, I had an Xbox 360, and the only games I used to buy were games that had Final Fantasy, Tony Hawk's, or Grand Theft Auto on the cover. Like they were my games. And then like I played Metal Gear Solid and I loved it, but like after Metal Gear Solid 1, I never completed a Metal Gear Solid game until last year. Like that was, you know, I did other like I used to like I think like I don't know if it was the last episode that we were talking about it on or whether it was just on my stream, but with Mass Effect, like I bought Mass Effect 1 for the Xbox 360 and I played about 15 minutes of it. I bought it secondhand when it was like about like £3, like in like a secondhand shop. I took it home. Like I bought it because I was like, oh, this cover looks kind of cool. I've never heard of this game. I've never heard of anything about it, but that's a cool cover. And I put it in the game and I played about 15 minutes and then I went, I'm going to go and do something else. And then I never went back to it. And there were so many games like that. But Final Fantasy was always my jam. Like, and Final Fantasy VII was my first Final Fantasy game. It was, I must have been, what year did that come out? 97. So it would have been like 8 or 9 at the time. And like, it was a kid who lived around the corner from my house had it, and he lent it to me, and I played the fucking shit out of that game. Like, I loved it. I had no idea what was going on, but I loved it. And like, that is a game that, like, Final Fantasy VII, the OG Final Fantasy VII is a game that I have played from start to finish probably a dozen times since I first played it. Like, it was once a year where I'd get the itch and I'd just play through it and I'd just speed through it and I'd just adore every second of it. And a remake of Final Fantasy VII, there had been rumblings of it for years and like rumors of it, and like it was the golden goose. It was like one day it's gonna happen, but not this year, not next year. One day it's gonna happen. And when they finally pulled the trigger, and there was that incredible trailer of like Cloud walking. Well, you didn't see it stuff. Like, it was the trailer they played at E3. There was like little hints that it was Final Fantasy VII, but it was like a minute and a half trailer that you didn't realize what it was until the last 10 seconds, where they kind of like show the shoulder of the dude, and then it pans out and he's got the Buster Sword in his back, and it pans up and you see like the Shinra HQ. Fuck, I have never, like, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it now. Like, it was insane.
Talking about it, it's giving me goosebumps.
It was insane. And like, then that game went through like this like really weird development cycle. Like, I think like
that game had that like Half-Life 3 thing happen, except where unlike Half-Life 3 it actually came out, but it was just like it was always in development. Like it's all no, it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out. It's yeah. Like we had to retool it. We had to restart it, or like we didn't like where it was. So we scrapped the whole thing, and it's like you scrapped the whole. Oh, what is that? Like when you say the whole thing, do you mean the whole thing, or like?
I remember like a year after it was announced, they like it was kind of like leaked that Square had kind of fired the developers and had hired a brand new team to start again on it. And like I remember reading that story and I was like, this game is going to be trash. This game is going to be just garbage. Because as well, like I'm one of those like old school Final Fantasy fans that maintain that Final Fantasy has lost its way in the last few years. Like I hated 13, I hated 15, 14 was an MMO, and like I know people love that game, but it was never for me sort of thing. And like Final Fantasy, there was like a 10-year period where they could do no wrong, and everything after that was not great.
Wrong.
And like so how awful that development of 7 sounded. I was like, no, this is gonna be bad. And then that demo came out, like the initial demo of like the Reactor 5 mission, like where you fight the Scorpion. Okay, yeah,
basically the first mission of the game. Yeah,
man, like I played that and like I genuinely had a tear in my eye at the end of it because I was like, they've nailed this. They have absolutely nailed this. And then you go back and look at that like initial reveal trailer and you're like, yeah, this is exactly how that hype should live up to. Like it was, and that game was incredible. It was so special.
What I forgot was, like them, scrapping it and redoing it and all that stuff. Duke Nukem Forever is what that reminded me. Started talking about it. Yeah, they fired this guy. That game did not need to come out because like that was always the joke. Is that game was supposed to come out for like the PS2 and Xbox, and then it just kind of kept like getting like reworked, scrapped. 3D Realms went under, and then like the game's dead. But then like I remember, here's how long ago it was. I remember an ad on G4 and like Attack of the Show talked about the game. Like, who was the guy on Attack of the Show? Can't remember what it was. But he like I remember them watching the clip of him, just like another teaser trailer for it, where he's like Duke is like smoking a cigar, curling a dumbbell, and he's like, I'm looking for a place to park my bricks. Like, meaning to, like, punch somebody, I guess, or some shit like that. But I was like, all right, cool, Duke Nukem, why not? But it was just, like, the fact that, it's like Duke Nukem Forever did not finish. DNF. Yeah. It's 100% what this game was. And then it came out. Ooh, man, I have never seen... I bought that game. I bought the Balls of Steel edition.
Wow.
Second hand for $5.
Wow!
A year later. And even I thought I paid too much when I finished that game. I was like, I should not have paid $5 for this game. I should not have paid $5 for this game. But man, let me tell you, you know what made that worth it? The fact that they had all the audio files of Duke saying like random shit. Like, I've got balls of steel. Baby, you make me wish I had 3 guns. Like, just stupid shit like that. And it's just like, why? These don't need to be here. Fucking, all right. But yeah, that's what Final Fantasy. But I'm so glad that 7 came out. That was a game that I no touchstone to Final Fantasy at all. But yeah, like that game really was something special.
And Intergrade's just a few days away.
Yeah,
June 10th. June 10th.
It's insane. Like, I mean, like
I forgot that until this past week.
Yeah, I'm still in that stage where like I like Final Fantasy, like I loved 7 Remake. That was a really, really special game for me. Like there was decisions in that game I didn't love, like as a kind of like Final Fantasy 7 quote unquote purist sort of thing, but there was moments I didn't love, but all told that game was brilliant. I'm still in that stage where like I'm like, I don't know if the DLC is going to be good. I'm sure it will be, but I'm still like, I'm going to be lukewarm until I actually like touch sticks on it. But
Yeah, because that's the DLC. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is the lady with the big like throwing thing with like the weird?
Yuffie.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
She has like the what's the little cartoon character, the Moogle?
Oh, the Moogle, yeah.
Yeah, she's got like a Moogle thing, and
Yeah.
it's like I see. Here's the thing: don't know shit about Final Fantasy, so I'm like, what the
What's
hell is
Same.
this?
Same.
What
It's like
what I love
I'm
about
so
like
confused.
the fact that they're doing this DLC with Yuffie like this. Oh. The fact they're doing this like DLC with Yuffie like in Final Fantasy VII remake, like that's a character that in the original Final Fantasy VII, she's an optional character. You can complete the game without ever even seeing her.
Oh.
And as well, she never steps foot in Midgar in the first, like in the original Final Fantasy VII. So they are really going all out with like saying like, look, this is a different
This is a
take on Final Fantasy
diverging
VII.
timeline.
Yeah,
Timeline,
exactly.
not the same.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like, she's got ties to Midgar, like in the original game. Like, basically, like the place that she's from, a place called Wutai, is a place that was at war with Midgar, like say 20 years ago. Like, I don't know the
Okay.
exact like timeline sort of
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
but yeah, like before the
Okay.
game starts, Wutai and Midgar were at war, and she's from Wutai, and they're a very proud nation. And that's kind of it. And like, but that's sort of her tie to Midgar. Like, she never goes to Midgar. Like, it's that's not part of the story. And as well, like I said, she's optional. You can complete that game start to finish without ever even seeing Yuffie. So the fact that they're making her not only like a like front and center character, they're making her an integral part by making her like the focus of the first DLC, and they're putting her in somewhere that she's never been. And it's like, wow, they are doing something genuinely exciting with this. Like it's cool. Like I can't wait for it. It's good. It's like I said, I'm still trepidatious. I'm still like I'm not gonna say I love it until I've played it. I'm glad that because of the fact that I already own Final Fantasy VII Remake, that the DLC is quite cheap. I think it's like a tenner or something. Like I think it's like £20 at most sort of thing. So I'm like, I will happily drop £20 on some Final Fantasy VII content. At the end of the day, I've bought Final Fantasy VII probably a dozen times at this point. I own it on Switch, I own it on Xbox, I own it on PlayStation, I own it on Steam. I don't know why I bought it on the PSP. I don't know why. But I've bought this game so often that I'm happy to throw more money at it.
Some would say you have a problem. Some would say you have
probably.
a problem.
Yeah,
See, if the best place to buy it though is on the PS4 because you get that dope PS4 theme with it.
yeah, that was awesome.
Theme that is like my
was
go-to
hot.
theme. Like
That was hot.
I'd come and go from that, but I'd always come back to that theme because it plays the Final Fantasy VII theme behind it, and it is just the most relaxing thing.
It was hot.
Yeah,
It was hot.
but the remake, just real quick before we move on, the remake was my first Final Fantasy game, and
Same.
I, until I listened to this kind of funny spoiler cast, I didn't realize that that's not how the original goes. So listening to that spoiler cast, I was blown away.
I was
Yeah.
so confused so many times because it was like if you have zero touchstone of Final Fantasy, you're just sitting there. You're like, oh yeah, you're playing, and then it cuts to some other guy who has the Buster Sword, and you're like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And then it's
Cloud
like,
of black
and
hair.
then he comes in later, and then like. It's like he's surrounded by people. I'm like, all right, well, he dies, and this is how Cloud gets the sword. All right, cool. And then it's like, these ghost reaper things start showing up all over the damn place. I'm like, what the fuck are you? And then it finds out like, oh no, they're there because like they're the winds of fate. They're trying to correct things that are wrong in this timeline, which is why fucking Wedge is. Oh yeah, I'd love to have another slice of pizza. Is fucking somehow living through that game when I guess he was supposed to die way sooner.
Well, that's like because that was perhaps my favorite thing of the remake is that like so in the original the the part of the game that the remake takes place in, if you know what you're doing, you can get to where Final Fantasy VII Remake finishes in around about 2.5 hours. And they made a 40-hour game out of it. And
that's what I
dang
heard.
good
I heard it was like, yeah, like the first like how did they stretch a 5-hour segment into a 40-hour game? Dance sequences. You know.
oh, that
If you know,
sequence is
you know.
incredible. Because like
So
so that sequence in the original is again, it's an optional sequence. That version in the original is perhaps the most homophobic, transphobic, garbage piece of shit you've ever seen in a game. And it's a totally optional like point. And like, because I remember like when they first announced that, yeah, the honeybee inn's gonna be in it, like everyone was like, "Oh, that's awesome." Oh wait, this is gonna.
This isn't 19.
There is
this isn't 90s anymore. You might not. Be
and
able to
they
get away with it.
turned it into a celebration of queer culture, and it was the best fucking thing ever.
And then what
So good.
still makes me fucking laugh is the fact that I guess in the original game you had to have like certain accessories or whatever on for Cloud to get wise
Mhm.
or Aerith would get. This one
Mhm.
Cloud's automatically. And I just laughed because I was like, how you gotta think for Aerith and Tifa, that's gotta be a slap in the face. That Cloud is a better looking chick than you two are. How does that feel that Cloud puts a dress and gets fucking braids and all of a sudden like they're like, yeah, I want a piece of that over y'all two. Which, god damn it, that whole segment, I was just laughing my ass off. I was like, I don't know, I'm okay. This is how we're running it.
I mean, let's be honest though. Cloud, very pretty lady,
Very pretty lady.
very attractive.
But
lady.
you see it written all over his face. Not a fan of this. He is awkward. He does not like this. Yeah. He is very much like, I don't know what I'm doing. I do not feel comfortable. And then like what
then
makes
you
me
go fight
laugh,
a house.
yeah, and then Aerith is there, and she's like, Cloud, and he's just not talking to her. He's like, shut up. You look so pretty. Shut the I will stab you. I will find a sword and stab you with it, Aerith. I will do it Sephiroth, whatever.
Sephiroth.
Katana Boy hasn't done yet.
Man, and like just yeah, and like for me, yeah, it was that hype started at E3, and they pulled it off. They pulled it off, and just for that, like for me, that moment, like I don't think for me, like that moment will ever be beaten as far as just levels of hype. Like just I mean, at that stage, like so what 2015 that was, so it was 18 years after the original came out, and probably like Aaron Guard mentioned it in the chat like a moment ago. They Square did a tech demo of a Final Fantasy VII remake for PS3, which they showed at E3 in like 2013.
Yep.
When did the PS3 come out? Oh no, yeah, it would have been earlier than that. Would have been 2008. 2000...
Yeah, actually no, yeah, it would have been 2000. Yeah, 2008, 2009.
Yeah. No, the PS3 came out in 2006.
Yeah.
So
You feel
we're
old
old.
yet?
We're old.
You feel old yet?
Chat. But
anybody who doesn't feel old, just wait. It'll hit.
They had teased the idea of a remake for years. Like, but they had outright said, nah, it was just a tech demo. It was just to show what the PS3 is capable of. This is never gonna happen, and like the hopes and dreams of everyone shattered. But like, because for me, I was one of those fans again. I never needed a Final Fantasy VII remake. Like the original is perfect. The original is brilliant. I love it. Like it has its jank. It's a weird game, but it is a nostalgia factor for me that I love that game. But like I never needed a remake. But the fact that we got a remake and it was everything I'd ever wanted it to be, and it was so fan servicey, and it was, but like it was fan service that was earned. It was so lovingly created. It wasn't a cash in. It was the people who made that clearly cared about making the best Final Fantasy VII remake, and what a joy. Yeah, like what a joy.
All right, now Bob, what was your like 3 hype moment? You're just like, goddamn.
So, I'm not gonna put anybody in suspense. It was the Smash Brothers "Everyone Is Here" trailer. Like
Yeah.
They just run
just
through the
thinking about
laundry list of every goddamn character.
Well, but you're just going through this. Because they start in the order that they were like released in or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like Pichu comes. Then a little bit later you see Roy, and then Ice Climbers comes back, and you're just like, what? And then they show Cloud coming back, because the fact that they're bringing in because going into Ultimate, you're like, okay, so what's the situation gonna be with third party characters? Then they show Cloud, Ryu, Snake. Like that's where that trailer blew up, was when Snake came back.
Like,
oh yeah,
that trailer was
everyone is here. Everyone.
The kind of, because yeah, it was, I think, because it was around about the like Ice Climbers moment that you sort of realized what they were doing.
Yeah.
But even at that point, you were like, "Oh my god, they're bringing everyone back!" But there's no way they're gonna get these. Like, there's no way we're gonna see.
Yeah, like you're
Cloud. There's no way we're gonna see.
Properties. Yeah, you're gonna have 75 Fire Emblem characters,
Yeah.
but you're not gonna get.
And like, because it like you were like, "Ah, I see what they're doing," but there's gonna be a caveat.
I think it was Snake is when it like blew up. Like
yeah, Sonic was like Pac-Man, like just everyone. It was like. All right, like it was just non-stop. Like that was such a fun trailer, and
yeah, and then all the stages too. Like
they
ultimate.
were very much like, this is the ultimate. This like we're not making another one. They made the way they put it up was like, we're not making another one. This is it.
I mean, Sakura's retired, so
yeah. Yeah, they might, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't play enough of Smash Brothers to be like, I need another one. However,
I haven't played the newest DLC character.
I don't even know who the new DLC. I don't even know who that is. I lost track after year 1. That's the one I bought. So I had like.
Wasn't Waluigi, and that's all that matters.
Here's the thing, though, Joe Medforce. I'm sorry, I don't want Waluigi in there for one reason. Trophy. And one reason only, so that the meme never dies. You got it? Because as soon as he's in the game, that's when the meme dies. But as long as Waluigi does not get in there.
Somewhere, Joe Medforce has just come across like a wave of sadness
on, the mustache,
has come across him,
that
and he has
crazy
no idea.
SOE had a beard going,
podcast.
shaved it to like just have the Waluigi like mustache thing, and then he shaved it to just have a mustache. Which I will say, him with a mustache, not a bad look. But yeah, he's somewhere. He's gonna burst through the door and just be like, "How dare you! How dare you say the Waluigi does not belong in the Smash Brothers?"
I have permission to get in this voice chat, but just hops in.
Yeah, he has no way of getting into this thing, but he's just gonna. I'm here. How dare you?
Nah, Smash Brothers was like just again like because it is the same on the same level as things like Final Fantasy VII. Is that like that level of hype is never going to be able to be replicated again, because in the same way as Final Fantasy VII, they managed to achieve the impossible, like the genuinely impossible. Like imagine 5 years ago telling someone that not only was Smash Brothers coming back, but every single character that has ever been in a Smash Brothers game, every single stage, every single song, every single facet of every single Smash Brothers, apart from the Subspace Emissary, of course. Like we're still waiting on that one, but is coming back, and it's going to be good. Just
you're not missing much aside from the hype cutscenes.
Oh yeah, no. It was a bad
platformer.
Smash Brawl, was it? Yeah, Brawl on the Wii. Like
on the Wii.
and it was a bad platforming game with the coolest fucking cutscenes ever.
Yes.
Like, but just go on YouTube and just watch the cutscenes from it, because again,
Like
it's that
Captain
like
Falcon killing a bunch of Pikmin, but it's the
incredible.
hypest thing ever.
Yeah, yeah, like just
I don't know if I can. Goddamn.
But
It's
no,
just
like,
cool because like it's just Pikmin, and he just does like a Falcon punch or kick, and then he just slides into these ruins, and then he just like, but you see all the Pikmin ghosts floating up around him because he just tore right through them.
so good, so good.
It's
like,
God.
but yeah,
Pikachu and Samus team up.
Yep. And that because that's
I
where
have to watch that now. I'm gonna have to like
It's really good.
That's where the whole Snake in Smash Bros. Kept you waiting, huh? Comes from, like, because that was like basically because he was in Brawl, and that was like where the game he was in, like, and you unlock him through the Subspace Emissary, but you unlock him very late in their kind of campaign, and like, but the whole way through they make. There's loads and loads and loads of like references to him and like kind of nudges that you're about to unlock Snake, and then it's someone else, and it's so much fun because of that. And when it does happen, kept you waiting, huh? Incredible. Like, but even down to the fact that they got fucking David Hayter back to do Snake for Ultimate. Like, how? Just. Like, it was, I have no idea, like, what deal with the devil Nintendo and Sakurai made to make Ultimate happen.
What blood oath they had to give Konami to get that to happen. Like,
yeah, it was so hype. So,
and the fact that it came out that same year. Like, they had the release date for that at that trailer, and it came out in 2018.
It was, so it was June, the announcement. I want to say November it came out, like November, December, like a
holiday season.
Man, yeah, it's like, so we had to wait 5 months for that game. Man, what a moment!
Nobody thought it was gonna hit. Nobody.
They were like, "That's gonna get pushed. That's gonna push." But there's no way. Because we've had other games that were like, "Oh yeah, that's obvious." Like, "Oh yeah, that's solid," and then it's like, "Nah, I got pushed." I was like, "How?" Looking at you, who I'm looking at, very low. Anyway,
Paul, what's you came into E3 late?
Yeah, so I came into E3 late. Like, so 2019 was the first like E3 that I was actually like actively paying attention to. It wasn't. I didn't watch it like a day or two afterwards, where I got like some of the rundowns. I watched it live. I was doing. I don't think I was doing anything with MC Fixer, but I think I was like watching it with MC Fixer in his chat, kind of. And I remember going through it, and I want to talk about not even like some of the most get hype sadness moments that I've ever had. And it was in that E3. Because you had Bleeding Edge that was announced in 2019. Bleeding Edge was Microsoft's not first party. Yeah, first party. Overwatch is how they pitch that game. And you're like, yeah, you all these crazy characters, and it's going to be Overwatch, but like less Pixar-y. I was like, all right, that sounds awesome. And you had, what was it? Something Wire Tokyo? Ghostwire Tokyo?
Ghostwire Tokyo, yeah.
Like, where the lady was just like, we're doing an action game very different.
Spooky.
And it was just like you had such weird presenters. You had that, well, not it's even weird, but like the presenters in that thing got so mean where they were just like spooky. And then you had the French guy for the Oliver, you were just talking about the game. The one where you die and you just keep, it's like two assassins and you keep going back. Deathloop, thank you very much. But he's talking about it and he was like, it's so fucking cool. Hold on my French. Because he's French. And so it's just like, like, see what you did there. But like you had them doing Deathloop. You had the lady doing the Tokyo Ghostwire, or Ghostwire Tokyo or whatever. You had Keanu fucking Reeves out there for goddamn Cyberpunk, which goddamn it, can we talk about hype to that? That's what 2019 was. 2019 was the year of like hype to sadness. Because like you had so much like fucking Bleeding Edge. Super hype, sadness.
And yeah, we all of us are still playing Bleeding Edge every day.
Yeah, I go in. I don't even know if the servers are still live. But like Cyberpunk,
Server's still up.
super high, super down. Ghost Recon. They had
Wildlands?
no, what that wasn't
Break
Wildlands.
something.
Yeah, I think it was Break something.
Breakpoint
Sounds right.
Breakpoint.
But yeah, they had the guy who played the Punisher. I'm blanking on his name right now. But they had
John
Bernthal.
Bernthal, that's the one.
Bernthal. Yeah, but you had him out there where he had his dog.
His
He walked
dog.
out there and he was like down, and the dog was just like laid there. It was just like, hi, I'm here, but he's just like, I'm here to talk to you about Ghost Recon. It's just like the most like, yes, we get it. You're a badass. You played the Punisher. You are just this hard-nosed son of a bitch. Like, we get it. Walking Dead, Punisher, you're here. And he had this goddamn adorable pit bull that I could not take seriously. But yeah, like you had all of these, and I don't even, did that game come out?
Yeah.
Because if it did, man, I don't know anything about that game anymore.
It was mild. It got like the sevens, you know, kind of
Yeah.
like the.
It was
just, yeah.
The only reason we're all not playing Breakpoint right now is because we're all busy on Bleeding Edge. It's
Exactly.
you know,
I
you can't juggle them both.
Yeah.
But it was like you had so many, but then you also had stuff like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Like that came out, like that was announced there. It was like the first person, you know, it's a single player Star Wars game. You're playing as a Jedi, like all this crazy. Like I had to pull it up because I was like, there was so much in there. You had Bleeding Edge, Borderlands 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remake, Cyberpunk, Doom Eternal.
Oh God, oh man,
Doom Eternal. 2019 was weird with like fucking Animal Crossing. The two games that came out on the same day that were yin and yang as hell, literally. Animal Crossing.
Fan art was amazing.
The memes were fucking great. I love how I'm blanking on her name. What was her name? Isabel in Doom still makes me laugh.
Yes.
Like the fact of her just holding
rip
and tear. And the fact that like when she comes into Smash, it was like the fact that they don't give her a double barrel shotgun upsets me. Just one. I wanted one Doom reference. That's it, Nintendo. All right. I get you can't put Doomslayer in the game, although I'm just saying Doomslayer in Smash would be fucking cool.
He's been rumored for a while.
Like,
that was
like Master Chief would be cool, and that was always my thing of like if Xbox and Nintendo really played nice, I would love to see Master Chief in there because that's like who I would imagine. I mean, like you do a lunge with a sword, you get a rocket launcher, you get like the AR where you're just shooting and then you run out of bullets at some point, and then just him punching would be kind of funny to see.
But even just saying like Doomslayer, like imagine the reveal trailer of Doomslayer in Smash, because they would do it with Isabel.
Like Isabel is calling somebody, like she's getting beat up and she calls somebody. She's like, I know somebody.
Cries out in pain or something. Like,
and then it's just like the BFG soundtrack kicks in, and then it's just Doomslayer walks in, and it's just like Mario's like, Mamma Mia, and it just like just.
I mean, it could still happen. Nintendo has a showcase.
It could. And let me just say, if that happens, I would definitely get back in. I would buy the next batch of DLC characters immediately for Doomslayer. Am I going to play? Probably. Am I going to win? Hell no. But just so I can have Doomslayer just be like, what is the world we live in where we can have Cloud, Doomslayer, Isabel, and Mario fighting each other all at one time? Like, what the hell is this world that we're in right now? But yeah, you had Doom Eternal, Dying Light 2, which Dying Light 2 still hasn't come out, right?
Coming out this year.
Just got a date of December 7th.
Because that was the one where they announced like that, like you could do something there was a mission early on that you could either like flood a city or not flood a city, and if you flooded a city, it totally cut out an entire act of that game, and like it was I remember that being like such an ambitious like trailer, and maybe I mean I don't think there's any way that game I can't see that game being good, but God bless them for trying.
God,
Like,
Fallout 76 had that announcement of the Battle Royale in it. Like, once again, like, it's a thing that's like, what, do we need this? No, but they're bringing back NPCs. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're trying to fix it. Pokemon Sword and Shield. Star Wars we already talked about. Watchdog Legions. Legion.
That was a cool
yeah,
trailer.
that was an awesome trailer. That was like.
And then once again, see, we have a lot of highs. We're hitting a lot of highs right now, right? Wolfenstein Youngblood. Little middle of the road. Little middle of the road. I heard it plays well, but like the leveling system's a little weird. Like I haven't played it. I haven't downloaded it because it's on Xbox
10
Game
minutes
Pass.
and yeah.
It was that game was decidedly fine. It was and like it wasn't bad, but because of how good Wolfenstein 2 was,
Wolfenstein, like the only thing that I hated about Wolfenstein New Colossus was moving around that damn sub. Moving around that sub was a pain in the ass. I will stand by that. I love that game. There's two that I need to play. I need to play Wolfenstein Old Blood, which is a prequel to New Order.
Yep. It's
And
good.
then-
It's good.
And then Youngblood. I do need to play Youngblood. I kind of want to just get another jabroni. Might just get another jabroni, and we might just do a little tag team thing. We might try to do that for YouTube. Maybe we throw that up on the YouTube channel. It's nostalgia on the. I don't even know what we'd call that.
Nostalgia on the sub.
Nostalgia on the sub.
He's
Yeah.
out on a sub.
Nostalgia on the sub.
Yeah.
Nostalgia on the Stein. I don't know. I
Yeah.
got nothing. I got nothing. Give me an hour and I'll come up with a good one. But the biggest, in my opinion, hype into sadness. Marvel's Avenger.
Oh, of course.
When where it starts hyping up, you'll get to play as Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Widow,
Voice cast too.
all this stuff. The voice cast, it's fucking the North. Troy Baker, half a critical role. It's great. And then they show it, and it's like, ooh, this looks like a bunch of cosplayers that kind of look like the MCU people, but not quite.
Yeah, they do. They all
Like the doubles,
oh.
like the doubles for the MCU is what it
Yep.
looked like. Which I'm not. Bear in mind, I fully understand that like the game wasn't going to look like, you can't make it look like them, but at the same time, like everybody
Licensing costs would be
associates with
insane.
it would be insane. Robert Downey Jr. would probably cost $1 billion, just him alone. But like, not even getting into licensing cost of trying to get those. Like, they were put in a tough spot between like, okay, well, do we make them comic book accurate, or do we make them look like the MCU? Weren't gonna win either way. No way you were gonna win that fight. But like the hype in that one where it goes up, where like they look a little weird, but they fixed them a little bit. But like everybody's like, fuck yeah, we're gonna play. It's gonna be awesome. You have Kamala Khan. Like holy shit, that game came out.
I maintain the biggest mistake that like Square Enix's Avengers did was the Avengers cast was the exact same as the Avengers movie. Why? Like every Marvel character ever has been an Avenger at some point.
Yep.
Why did they go with the same as the because if that game looked the way it did, but instead of like say like Hulk wasn't in it, but Ben Grimm was. Cool. Fucking awesome. Like they should have gone with a different cast of Avengers.
Honestly, I wouldn't have been upset if they had. Well, see, it's a double-edged sword. Or what you do is you spin it, right? So you have San Francisco, you have that event. All the Avengers disappear. Just Cap.
Yeah.
And then who do you bring in? You take the new Avengers team that Brian Michael Bendis did, which had Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Jones. I forget the rest of it. I don't know if Jessica Jones was on it.
That's like the Defenders.
It was like Spider-Man. You had Luke Cage. Bendis took like a lot of kind of street level characters and made them into the kind of like cycle it down a bit. But like even you still had the Hulk, which you could still have the Hulk live because he's the fucking Hulk, so he lived through it. But like you have the Hulk, and so now he's like, do I really should be here? And then Luke Cage is trying to lead it. Spider-Man's in the game, or even if you can't get Spider-Man, get Daredevil, bring in yeah, like Ben Grimm would actually be a great pull, but then you gotta try to get, you know, like the Fantastic Four and how they fit into it, or like why he's not with the Fantastic Four. But the fact that they had Kamala Khan in there, I really think did help it out.
Mm-hmm.
She was the best character in that game.
Yeah, she's the best character for obvious reasons. Like they focused on her, and that's what was so good about it. Is like they're pulling it in, like the Avengers are disassembled, and trying to pull them back together because fucking shenaniganery center. But it's just like that. I loved it. And then I think what was one I missed? I was scrolling through. Oh yeah, Pokemon Sword and Shield was announced this like another massive fucking Pokemon game. Like what the fuck? But like that's what I mean. Like 2019 was so crazy in my mind, being like my first one I paid attention to, because it was like we had some super high marks, super low marks, or like things that were like super high that ended up going real bad. You had like these really meme worthy presenters, and then like, oh, a little thing called Xbox Project Scarlet. Or when they were
Oh,
gonna
of
call,
course, yeah.
yeah, remember when they were gonna call the Series X and S that?
Yeah.
To separate it from the Xbox One X and S would have made it at least a little bit easier.
Yeah,
Everybody
instead
trying to
they
buy
chose two
shit.
letters that basically sound exactly the same.
So that way, when you're looking on fucking Amazon and you're trying to buy it, and it looks like you almost buy the wrong god blessed console. Not saying I did that, but I definitely almost did that, and I think a lot of other people did too. The Xbox One X had a
remember
like
seeing the
shot
stats.
through the roof on the day when the Xbox Series X came out.
Mhm.
A lot of moms and dads who didn't know the difference were like, "Buy new console." It's like, nope. Like they got a good console, but it ain't the one you're thinking of.
Why did it come today?
Yeah.
Like in the most meme worthy possible like way ever, Xbox have my favorite naming convention of all time. Like I would love to be on the marketing team of Xbox, because like they are literally just throwing shit at the wall and just going, what should we call this one? The one. Why the one? Because we can't call it the two, because the three six the series the X, like it's just
Here's what it
it's
was, right? You
insane.
had the Xbox. You had the Xbox. We had the Xbox
And the PS2.
360, which was like, oh, we're gonna do the Xbox 360. The 360 is because they had some bullshit math for it, right? They did. They
No,
had some.
it was because where they were like one kind
Yeah.
of console behind PlayStation.
In
If
numbering.
they'd called it the Xbox 2 and it came out at the same time as the PlayStation 3, people would automatically go, "Oh, the PlayStation 3 is more because it's a higher number than 2." So I totally get why they went with a different naming convention for that. And then it all just fell apart. Like,
Yeah, and then you had the Xbox. Well, no, the reason they called it the Xbox One is because the one box you need in the house.
Yes.
It could
Yep.
do. It was because that was when they did the big push, kind of away from games, more towards multiplayer.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you can get NBA on it, you can get Netflix on it, you could. They shot it towards the mom and dads. They stopped thinking about like the video gamers, and they thinking like the general populace mom. They fumbled real hard. But then like that was why it was the Xbox One, was because one box you would need, and then obviously you had the Xbox One X and S, where sure, because the Xbox One Plus sounds weird, like, or like the Xbox One 2, I don't even know. But yeah, then when you come out with these ones, it's like, yeah, the Series X and the Series S, because they're not gonna be numbered anymore. You're gonna do, oh okay, but why?
Different letters.
Like just God, call it something else. Let's call it something else.
Mhm.
But hey, obviously somebody somewhere made a lot of money off coming up with that name, and we ain't them. So what do we know?
Now, I see your 2019 and all of the 2019, but I want to tell you, just run through quick the Sony E3 2016 presentation.
oh,
God of War 2018 got announced.
That trailer was insane.
So you want to make that trailer even more hype? Watch Raising Kratos. They make that trailer way more hype.
The fact that they
really
because
good
that
job.
was that the one with the gameplay reveal?
Yes.
No, that was no. It was 2016. Wasn't the gameplay reveal. It was like Atreus, but we didn't know a name. It was just him playing with toys, and then it's Kratos steps in, and then it's the God of War. Like
Okay.
that's the
Yeah, all right. Yeah, because I remember the like watching Racing Kratos and seeing Corey Barlog sweating as he is having to play that game live and hope he doesn't break it, which is something I did not know was a thing until live gameplay was like, oh yeah, they record it, they do this thing so that way they don't break it. But it was like, nope, we play live because we can't record it. Because we don't have time, because everything is stretched so thin. Oh God, it's just like what?
Raising Kratos is so good. Just go watch that.
Yeah, it's
on YouTube.
Such
like,
a good
do
watch.
it.
Such a good watch. Yeah.
Then you have Days Gone got revealed.
Days
which
Gone.
say what you will of the game, but that
the
first
game
release,
according to the internet, is the best worst game to ever get canceled. Is kind of what I've gathered. It's like nobody played that goddamn game, or nobody said a good thing about that game until they canceled the second one. We're like, oh, Days Gone was so good. It's like, what? Y'all
apparently
talk
it's one
so
of those
much
games
shit
that they
on
patched it to be good. From what I've heard.
Yeah, I never got around to playing it. Like, I think it's like we were talking about it recently. Like, I think it's one of those 7 out of 10s, and like. But like not, and that shouldn't be a dirty word sort of thing. Like it's one of those games that is mechanically fine, story fine. Like it's a good game, but just it's at the end of the day. Like I mean, I still have no idea why they commissioned Days Gone, because it looks so much and is so similar to The Last of Us. Like why would Sony like do this? Like because they were always gonna like. Anyone who looked at Days Gone was always going to compare it to The Last of Us, and that is
Last of Us. It's Sons of Anarchy Days of the Last of Us. The Last of Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah,
what that looked like. It's like, oh yeah, we got zombies, and we got a motorcycle guy. Sure, let's run it. Why not?
Yeah, I think this was more of like just like that crazy tech demo, just showing all like the hordes of zombies there. Or
like what was it, Dead Rising 3? Dead Rising 3 was the same way, where they were just like, look at the power of the Xbox. Look at all of these zombies on the screen, and they're all moving. Stop it, don't you? Now you can build a weird, like, nunchuck saw blade gun that'll do, because fuck you and guns. It's like, alright, sure, why not? Make a baseball bat that can also shoot a rocket. Sure. Louisville Slugger to the next level.
Yep.
Okay, so you've got God of War, Days Gone.
Got Last Guardian release date.
Oh,
which
man,
that got pushed, but
weird.
You want to talk about a game that I got that was like had a lot of hype and then kind of I heard it was like that because you just had a big weird not dog cat thing that just kind of followed you around.
Yeah, then we get Horizon Zero Dawn new gameplay demo.
Oh, that I think is like Horizon Zero Dawn. As far as like new IP is concerned, I think Horizon Zero Dawn is the most hyped I've ever been for any game ever, sort of thing. Like those trailers leading up to Horizon Zero Dawn just knocked it out of the park time and time again.
I still love just the sound when you go into like that little mode or like the on mode. It just it's just like I hear it. Just thinking about it, it's just
like imagine like on the PS5 with Forbidden West when you do the 3D audio, it's gonna be like right there.
I don't want to touch my ear. I'm gonna
Yeah, like as far as like I can't think of any other like don't get me wrong, like I was incredibly hyped. Like the first Spider-Man trailer was I was so fucking hyped for that.
Don't get ahead of me. Don't get ahead of me.
Yeah, that was Spider-Man was revealed that year.
Don't get ahead of me.
Stop talking, Oliver. Don't get ahead of him.
Oh, okay, yeah, 2016 was the best. 26.
No,
Okay, yeah.
this isn't just 20. This is just PlayStation.
This is Sony's 2016. All right, so
Then we get Detroit. Detroit Become Human.
now that one I never got into that game. I just
It's a good. I enjoyed it.
I think
personally.
what messed with me, it looked too much in my head like Indigo Prophecy, Heavy Rain, and I was just like,
Which
I
was same devs
don't-
as Heavy Rain. So.
Yeah, it's like I don't need that. Like you have 75 different endings. I don't want that. That's too many. I don't.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, the tree that you see at the end of every level. That's,
yeah, it's just like I'm just frozen by choice. It's like, did I really make the right choice here?
All those games, yeah, I'm with you there, Paul. Like, all those games are games that I love in theory, but never like. I'm so glad Detroit Become Human exists, and I will never play it. Like, but I'm so glad that it's there.
I'm glad it's like. Actually, wait. I'll stop talking. We don't know what's. I have a feeling of what might could be on that list, but I also don't remember what year something came out.
Then we get a big batch because PlayStation VR gets a release date. So then you get a bunch of VR trailers. So you get Farpoint.
Wait, PSVR got announced in 2016?
Or it said gets a release date.
Yeah, I think
Got
it was.
a release.
I think that was the first time we like officially saw the headset.
Oh yeah, because that was because they were launching the PS4 Pro. Some like
2017.
Yeah, PS4 Pro came like because the first game to kind of like be all like, oh, we're on the PS4 Pro was Horizon Zero Dawn. So
yeah, because that was what it was. Because you had the Pro, and so that was like the VR will run best with the Pro, but it will still run with your baseline PS4. I remember that now because I was like, what do I need the Pro? Like, what do you want? VR. The best way to experience VR is with the PS4 Pro.
Yeah, so then you get, a bunch of VR games. So like Star Wars Battlefront gets a VR mode. Batman Arkham VR got announced. And then Resident Evil 7 in VR got announced.
Oh, of course. Was that the kitchen demo, or was it the actual like full when they fully announced 7? Like, because
you want to talk about some games I just don't want any part of. That's one of them. Phasmophobia in VR makes me want to. I love my community very much, but I fucking hate them for telling me to play that game in VR. Because let me tell you, that was the worst.
So I played around about half hour of Resident Evil 7 in VR. We were talking with Miss Gorgatchet. We were talking about this a few weeks ago. Like, played about 40 minutes of Resident Evil 7 in VR and noped out of it so hard. I finally went back to it a couple weeks ago on stream, not in VR. I got about maybe 2 hours into Resident Evil 7. I have never felt so anxious or stressed out or just paralyzed. Like, that game is cursed. That game is horrible. It is.
I would like to quote My Chemical Romance. I'm not okay. Like, that's just the entire time. Like, even watching people play that game. No fucking thank you. Even watching 8, which 8 is substantially less scary and like more kind of actiony. Nah, I don't care how much people love the tall lady. No. Just no thank you. Creepy doll? Weird how I didn't see that until the game came out, and then I don't even know anything else. I know you have the fat guy who's the merchant. What are you buying? I knew a guy who used to say that. Like that, which I thought was a hilarious callback. But like, I know you have big lady, the 3 daughters, creepy doll lady, and then the Duke, I think is what he's called. I don't know.
Yeah, the merchant, I think is the Duke.
Big fat guy merchant. That's all I know about that game. That's all I want to know about the game because I don't want to know shit else about it because no thank you. Just no.
Yep. Then, following all that up, Crash is back. Crash Insane Trilogy got announced.
Yeah, the year of the Bandicoot. The year of the Bandicoot. Now I remember Tim Geddes like lost his shit. Was that wasn't the one where he broke Andy's laptop, was it?
No, that was Game Awards when Joker came to Smash.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
I remember
just
that.
throwing the hat and like Andy using a
I use that
cardboard
GIF all the
box.
time.
God, I love it. I love it because he's like, oh yeah, oh no, like
Because it was when the letter turns around and you realize it's the Smash reveal.
Like, but that the crash reveal, like, yeah, because that was another one that was not on the same level as like a Final Fantasy VII remake, but like
Right.
Crash, like people had been asking for Crash for years, and it was just one of those that was like, it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. And then it did, and it was again like the best
Amazing.
compliment I can. Yeah, the best compliment I can ever pay like the Insane trilogy, because I loved the Crash Bandicoot games when I was a kid. Is that the Insane trilogy looks and feels exactly like I remember Crash
Yep.
looking and feeling when I was a kid, and then
yeah.
you go back and look what that game had. It's trash. It's trash.
Yeah,
But that
so
Insane
bad.
trilogy was, yeah, like that was those that I will say all 3 platinums, but that's neither here nor there. Neither here
Well, I
nor
mean, I'm
there.
glad you were able to platinum 3 kids games.
Oh, they no, that is
look.
that
That's
is
a
the
joke.
gauntlet.
That's a joke at that Billy the Door's expense because I forgot that I had made a joke about Ratchet and Clank being a kids game. Because all right, in my defense, we were playing a game and I was like, well, Horizon might be the game that I actually buy a PS5 for because like that might be it. But I was like, but if I can play it on my PS4, like I don't know. I was like, I don't really know if there's something like that I have to buy a PS5 for. He was like, Ratchet and Clank, and I was like, Billy, don't make me be a bully. Don't make me be a bully. Like, I'm not buying a PS5 to play a fucking kids game, okay? Like, get the fuck out of here, all right? Like, I played all the other collectathons. I played the Superior Jack and Daxter. I don't need your furry and robot companion, all right? And it's just like, man, he clipped that out. He was not happy about it. He clipped it out the following day. The following day, he clipped it out because he was like, "Oh yeah, you talk shit on Ratchet and Clank." I was like, "No, I don't remember doing that, but sure." And then he clipped it out. He was like, "Paul being a bully," and I was like, "What? Oh yeah, I was. Oh yeah, I did. All right. In my defense, you did goad me into it. You started that. All right. I said, don't make me do it, and you made me do it. Therefore, I did it.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, don't get it twisted. I know full well Crash Bandicoot is a bastard of a game. Trying to get all the goddamn crates in that game, just no goddamn thank you.
And 4 is
Because
even
you
harder.
had to speed run them. You had to like
because you have to
and
because there's like
they-
3 gems
trials.
per fucking goddamn level. Because you have like the diamond, the chaos crystal, and then some other bullshit. I don't even know, but it's just like you have just this hodgepodge of nonsense that all just came together in Crash Bandicoot to just like to get a platinum in. Which I like I said, the only Crash Bandicoot game that I ever remember playing that I played a lot was the one that had you fighting like the elementals, which I know is a shot in the dark. I just remember that one being it. It was like they made some other Bandicoot character that's not tiny, that it was like, but they don't have a way to power him, and so they use the evil version of that mask the mask that I'm blanking on his name for.
That's it's got to be one of the like PS2 ones.
It's
Yeah,
100% a PS2 one. It is
Yeah,
100% a PS2
I don't know
one.
any of those. So
I remember you get a cool mech suit like you were an alien. I remember that. Look, I didn't say there's like certain game like that's my. Here's the bad thing, right? That's my touchstone to those games. Just like I play sometimes the worst versions of games because that was what I could buy. Because that like a young Paul had $20 on his birthday, so he went in and bought a game at Blockbuster. With that, I'm that old. I bought games at Blockbuster. And it was just like that was what we had.
Yep. Anyway,
yeah,
we just the last couple things. We got PlayStation owners could play Modern Warfare Remastered 30 days early. Then we got Lego Star Wars Force Awakens come to PS4, and then the last two. Kojima Productions Death Stranding reveal.
Oh, that was so good.
That
The
was revealed in
song, Low
2016.
Roar. Oh,
Then it ends with Spider-Man PS4 reveal, which later was revealed that's actual gameplay, not a pre-rendered cutscene.
yeah. But the
That
puddles
is
didn't look as
in-engine.
good in the actual
Oh,
game,
no,
did they?
no, no.
Because that's E3 stuff. Watch Dogs did the same thing. They made a joke. It was you have E3 goggles to make it like look super good. But if you ran the game in that mode, it looked
Spider-Man,
different. But in photo mode, it
Spider-Man
worked.
puddle
In photo
gate was
mode,
the fucking worst. Like,
oh, it was. But in what makes me laugh is they patched it in the photo mode. So if you go into photo mode, that's when the puddles get all reflective. As just the biggest middle finger to everyone.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that was all of PlayStation 2016.
yeah, that Spider-Man reveal was
You got me
yeah,
beat. You
the
got me
20s
beat.
that was non-stop.
That's
that
just
year.
one conference.
Yep, that wasn't
one
even everything.
conference.
It yeah. Like that's the thing. There's always ones that you could look at. There's always it's like looking at anything, right? Like
Yeah.
there's always gonna be like, oh well, you like this game, but what about oh you like Super Bowl 50? What about Super Bowl 43 or Super
Right,
Bowl 27 or Super Bowl blah blah blah? Which I will say, the Super Bowl that was the St. Louis Rams taking on the Tennessee Titans is still my favorite because I remember as a kid, the fact that they stopped the Titans on like the 2-yard line for the win was the most incredible goddamn thing. The greatest show on turf. Cannot remember the Super Bowl at the top of my head because I've had a bit of scotch, but still my jam. It's still my favorite. Okay. So, chat's even talking about this. You might have actually passed the Bourbonite Slob in the longest episode. The bad thing is we could. The bad thing.
No.
We could keep going. But Albob, I feel like I have to cut this. I feel like we have to cut this for no other reason than me trying to upload this later is going to take 6 days as of right now. So, with that being said, probably Oliver, do you have any other parting shots as far as your E3, any other E3 get hype moments that we could tangent about?
No,
I
no.
see in your eyes.
No,
you want to.
no, there was the last question we was gonna ask, like right, and like right.
Actually, no. Fuck it. We're just gonna keep going.
Let's do this quickly, like 2 minutes each, sort of thing.
Okay.
What would be your get hype moment for this year's E3?
Okay.
That's
mine
the final
right now.
question before we sign off. Like Paul, Albob, I want to know like what could happen at this year's E3 that would just make you go, holy shit, this is everything.
I'm ready. I can go right now.
Okay. Albob, I'm putting 2 minutes on my watch. Ready, set, go.
So, this year, Zelda's 35th anniversary. They screwed Mario over. We're gonna do Zelda right. Starting off, we got, Skyward Sword coming out. So then later, we're gonna get the ports that everybody has been asking for because they're on the Wii U already. So just port them to Switch. Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Give us a bundle, those 2 games. Boom. Then the Switch Pro gets announced. We're getting that this holiday or fall or whatever. Coming with Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Drop the mic.
Didn't even need a full fucking minute for that. You didn't even need a full fucking minute for that one. Okay.
That'd be good because Breath of the Wild 2
Show Zelda some respect.
Breath of the Wild 2, just like Breath of the Wild 1, could be a really good 7 out of 10.
Fuck. See, I love how I don't have to be a troll. You get to be a troll on this one. I don't have to be a troll on that one because I love Breath of the Wild. What I love is the fact that I played it the first time I played it on the Switch, and I played it. I touched what I found out was like maybe not even 40, 30% of that game. I went through, did the 4 people, and then like fought Ganon, and I was like, cool, I know Zelda. And then like playing it on stream was like just like having Rupee and Erengard and all these people being like, oh yeah, you could do this and this. Yeah, if you fight the dragon then like this will happen. And I was like, wait, excuse me? Yeah, you shoot the dragon, you get the scale, and then you go to like this person, and if you do this other thing, and it's like there's like so much left to this game that I didn't even begin to touch. Because the world is so what I thought the world was just open and like big and kind of empty, is turns out super full of shit if you paid attention to it. And if you just interact with people and do different things. The thing is though, it doesn't tell you how to do shit. Just fucking walk around. I got struck by lightning so many times in my first playthrough because I didn't fucking understand that I had to put the metal objects away. And then climbing anything in the rain was a bastard. I hated it. I didn't like somebody made a joke in the when I was doing the gameplay that it was like, yeah, the biggest enemy in Breath of the Wild is not in fact Ganon, is not any sort of the centaurs. It is not any of those things. It is 100% rain. It is rain. That is all it is. It is rain. That is it. But yeah, probably Oliver, I'm just letting you know right now. You will get bullied 100% by the chat. You, I hope, have good security because Erengard is going to come after you. I hope you're in. I don't even. It's not even your security, right? It is. I hope you have like good like antivirus and all that kind of stuff on your computers and all your electronics. Because Erengard will find a way into the Matrix and fuck your life up for the sacrilege that you just threw it.
I get why people love Breath of the Wild. It just did not hit with me. I just didn't like. I like Zelda. I like Zelda games. Like, but I just we could go into a whole thing about like Breath of the Wild. Like that would be but there is we've like I could speak for another 2.5 hours about Breath of the Wild. Like that is a game that I like do not think that I am someone who didn't put time into that game. I have played like a good 70-80 hours of that game. I tried so hard to love it. I just didn't. And I'm in the wrong there. I fully accept that I am in the wrong. Like
here's what's gonna happen though. Is that now I want to put Erengard on the next step. To be straight back. To do two things, right? Talk about modding and building a community. I feel like that man, for a guy who does not stream, he is a part of more communities and is like a more recognizable name.
Oh, Erengard's the best.
It's like between him and Trix, those two are like the two of the most like in our community, and obviously our community is, you know, like we a lot of us have a lot of crossover like between in Albob, like between Albob, Waypoint, probably Oliver, the MC Fixer, everybody else. Like everybody kind of has like a little bit of a crossover. The fact that like I will go into random people's streams and Erengard will either already fucking be there or they know who he is like what?
Yep.
What? And it's like he doesn't stream. He will play games with people, but he is just and like it is such a weird and amazing thing. So like kind of like doing that stuff, like being one of the better mods, being the leader of the angels, which is always a funny thing to me, like that how that whole joke started. But then yeah, also being able to talk about like Breath of the Wild. Plus, I kind of want to talk to him about D&D because that man knows D&D like a son of a bitch. So we're definitely gonna try to get him in here eventually. I don't know. Once again, Ollie, I think we're gonna have to start doing this weekly. Because we have a laundry list of people. But now here's the thing, though, right? No matter how desperate we may be for guests, we can never have Rumble back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Alba, we could be like, I don't know. But here's the thing, though, right? We need to get Jim Tasty on.
Yep.
We need to get every other member of Waypoint on.
Yep.
Oh, but you guys will have a blast with some other Josh.
Yes, we need some other Josh. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Drinking with him. Oh my gosh, that'd be a fun.
But that's
episode.
the thing, right? We need to go through. I feel like Rumble is gonna hit me up after this, being like, "You son of a bitch! I thought we were cool." Like either that or I'm gonna get hit up by like some other way. I'm gonna hop into like Hellsman Gaming's channel or like I'm just gonna be in somebody else's Twitch channel and Wimple's gonna be like, "Oh, funny meeting you here." Knife, stab, ban me from that other channel for no other reason than because he might have power over me there. Oh man.
Yeah, that's that.
Okay, so that was so the Nintendo thing, Breath of the Wild 2, Zelda's Twilight Princess, and what was the other one?
Wind Waker HD.
Wind
Those
Waker
two ports.
HD. I ain't gonna lie, I know Twilight Princess by name. I do not know that game. I don't know shit about Zelda.
See, Zelda's
Breath of the Wild.
franchise,
Breath of the Wild. Was like
Wind Waker is the best Zelda. Wind Waker is my favorite Zelda. But
isn't I thought
really
I thought it was Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time. Aren't those the two that everybody like?
Yeah, like a lot of people like Ocarina of Time is that's the sort of like entry point for everyone like into Zelda. Like that's the Mario 64 of Zelda, like Ocarina of Time. And like Majora's Mask is like a lot of people love Majora's Mask because it is fucking bonkers. It is so out there.
It came out a year or two after Ocarina of Time. They used the same engine, repurposed things for Majora's Mask so they could get it out.
Isn't that the one where like the moon has a face or some shit? Like, once again, I don't know shit about it. I just remember like the moon having a face and just being like, Okay. So we have Albob. That was your pitch. ProbablyOliver, do you have yours ready? Okay. 2 minutes on the clock. I love how we said 2 minutes and we talk like 20 minutes after. Anyway, 2 minutes on the clock for your pitch. Ready, steady, go.
All right. Now, we know Sony isn't a part of E3 as such, but Jeff Keighley has said that Sony are part of the Summer Games Fest, and they will be there in some capacity at like what is essentially opening night live for Summer Games Fest. So we get the PlayStation Studios logo comes up. We see Atreus, sad, cowering in a corner. He looks like something awful has happened. Like it kind of like it pans up like from like his feet sort of thing. We don't see that it's Atreus straight away, but then we see Atreus. Something awful has happened. The camera pans around. No cuts in the trailer because we know what this is. There is no cuts in God of War. The camera pans around. We see Kratos, bloodied, beaten, ripped to shreds. And then the camera pans a little bit more and we see Mjolnir. And it pans up and we see Thor for the first time. And Thor has fucking destroyed Kratos. And then hard cut, black screen, the God of War logo comes up. It's not called Ragnarok. The God of War logo comes up. The God turns into End. End of War. That's our new game. It's coming this year, November 12th, 2021. It's coming this year. We're not getting Horizon, but we are getting God of War. And it is all about Thor destroying Kratos. Boom.
I like it.
I love the presentation. Not a chance in hell.
It's never gonna happen. It's never
at all.
Well, okay, here's the thing, bro. All right. Here's what I'll say. God of War getting a trailer? Possibly. Yes, here's the thing, right? God of War came out 2018?
Yep.
2018. It's been 3 years since the last game
April
came out.
2018.
No DLC, none of that stuff. Therefore, they didn't work on anything else for God of War. Or God of War 2004, technically. Not counting all the other spin-offs. But PS4 God of War. 3 years, we're tiptoeing on the fact that they could have an actual definitive.
I genuinely do believe we see something of God of War, whatever this new God of War is. I think we see something of it by the end of summer.
I really would. I think it's going to come out. I think 2022 is a safer bet. Game's going to come out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, I really want to see just it. Yeah, it's that hut. It's get scorched where lightning hit it. Essentially, where that little ending credits thing, if you go back to the cabin in God of War, that little like nightmare that Atreus has, that's what you see. But my thing with God
I
of
think
War,
that's the
my thing
exact
with God of
moment where
War
the
is,
next God of
right?
War picks up.
I
Like, I think that
End scene.
do
that post
you
credits is
make
exactly where we start.
Atreus a playable character, or do you stick with Kratos?
I think that, like, because I think this series of God of War, I think it has to be a trilogy. It's a trilogy. Like,
I
I
can see it
think
being
we
three
play
parts,
as
but at the same time, like, do you think Atreus? Because we saw in when they went to Jotunheim, what happens, right? If you go by what the fates have decided, what happens? So like Atreus's mother, uh, did they say her name?
I don't think so.
it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
I feel like they did, but I'm fucking just.
Yeah, it's been.
So like
so long
they
since.
see her and she's talking to the giants, and then she leaves, and like Loki being Atreus once again, 2018. Sorry if you played the game, you would play the game at this point. Sorry. But like Atreus, having those ties to giants and Norse mythology, and then how it kind of plays out through the rest of those like little scripture things, like where fighting Boulder and all this shit, right? And at the end of that little thing, you see him holding Kratos. Like, does he kill Kratos? It's there when Kratos dies. No. But then, like, that's the thing. Kill Kratos. Is Atreus gonna have that same feeling, that same impact, that same hold that Kratos had? The whole reason why God of War 2018 worked, because you are playing a character who was so full of fucking just like fuck you rage in the first 17 games that they made of God of War. Boy. And like they just I love how we all just but like the fact that you had that character and like now he's trying to be a father. He's not trying to be a warrior. He's not just letting his emotions control him. He's trying to maintain his trying to do right. He's doing his best to raise his son without the boy's mother, who he let the boy's mother handle a lot of, and like coming to terms with like, okay, I can't hide the fact that he's a god. I can't do this. Like I have to make it better than the people that came before me and better than me, because like we see it time and time again. The parent, the child killing the parent, Kratos killing Zeus, Baldur almost killing Freya, Atreus possibly killing Kratos. And it's like, would Atreus have that same hold that Kratos would? Or would that just turn into a revenge plot?
I don't think we ever play as Atreus. I don't think that's what these games are. I I I don't know. It's so, like I never played like the original God of War games, but I could very much understand that this like 2018, which is that's a perfect video game. They're like that is a 10 out of 10 video game.
That is the closest thing to a 10 out of 10 that I
Absolutely.
played a lot of good games. Like I mean, like I said, love Mass Effect, love this and that. But that game, like, just it.
Again, that game plus the Raising Kratos documentary. Like, if you've played God of War 2018 and you haven't seen Raising Kratos, you're doing something wrong.
It's on YouTube. It's like what, 45 minutes to an hour?
It's like 2 hours.
It's like 2 hours. So it's this podcast. It's shorter than this podcast.
It's half of this podcast.
Exactly.
Like,
it's half the time of this podcast. You're fine. Put it on.
But
while you're at the gym walking on the treadmill, or while you're riding that bike, or just while you're driving to work. Just kick that bad boy on. You don't necessarily have to watch it. You can listen to it. They tell a lot of good stories. It's fine.
The cool thing I liked about that, the scene when he gets the Blades of Chaos out, like you feel that from the actor. Like the
but yeah,
intensity he had.
that moment alone is like someone who didn't. I had no touchstone for
Oh,
God of War
same.
whatsoever. Never
Never
played it,
played
but
it. This
like
is my
I
first, yeah.
knew how important that moment was. But just that game is framed so well. Just that is.
They do the Blades of Chaos in a way. See, because like I had played God of War 2 and God of War 3. I wasn't crazy like Loki Mike and went through and played like 1, 2, 3, and then like all the PSP. I didn't play every God of War game because I was like, no, thank you. But like I knew what the Blades of Chaos were. Blades, they were super cool. They were like throw them out, but like what they meant in the game world, being like, oh yeah, they're super cool and they're super powerful, but they're also like your chains. Like these bind you. They're like the shackles at which you wear, like showing that you are a tool of the gods. Like you exist only to serve the gods' will. Like that is what they were essentially, right? And then for him to like he doesn't get rid of them because they even talk about it. Like he threw them into the ocean and they showed right the fuck back up. Like you couldn't get rid of them, so he wrapped him up, stuck him away, hid him away, buried that shit, right? Buried his past. And then him coming to a point where he was like,
Ice isn't gonna do it.
I have to do this. Like the only and the fact that they bring up it's like, yeah, no fire can burn in hell, like all this stuff, and it's just like nothing in what's her name or what she say, like nothing in all the 9 realms can burn there or something. No fire in the
Something
9
like
realms
that,
can do
yeah.
that. It was like, I got something that's not in those 9 realms. And it's just like that, and then even the dwarf, the blue dwarf, like on his name. But like he's looking at me, was like
Brock and Sindri.
Brock and
One of
Sindri,
those
yeah. So
two.
Brock is like, hey, that's not from around here, but I know good craftsmanship when I see it. Because it's fucking Hephaestus made that shit. Like I'm pretty sure Hephaestus made that shit, but like a god made those blades. And so him realizing, like, I don't know what the fuck those are. I don't know what the fuck those are made of. But god damn it, are those great. And it was just like, yeah, him putting it on and like, even just in the thing, like, which they do a great job of like hiding how the chain like connects onto his wrist. But then like him wrapping it. And just, you can see it. It's not just like a boom, boom, boom. It's like, I want to
Here we go. Yeah.
And then Athena's ghost in the door of her just being, always be, always be. No matter what you can play a man, you can play to be a god, but at the end of the day, you are nothing but a monster. You know nothing but destruction. And it's just like, holy shit. And at the end of it, he puts him on. He's like, you know what? I might be a monster, but I'm not your monster. Go fuck yourself. Fuck you.
Friend of mine, like just quickly in regards to the God of War, like a friend of mine like was playing through it and like kind of played like a few hours and then kind of wasn't loving it, so kind of gave up on it. And like I remember like texting him and being like, oh my god, isn't it amazing? He was like, I didn't love it, like I didn't finish it, like I just kind of gave up with it. And I was like, no dude, you need to start again. And like kept on at him like to like pick it up like where he'd left off. Turns out he had paused it and stopped playing it the scene before the Blades of Chaos. And like that was the next scene. And like after like about 6 months of him not playing it, he picked it back up. And I remember him like texting me like an hour later and being like, holy shit, like holy shit, this just got fucking real. And I'm like, yeah.
Because what's fucked up is that game is like, and then of course like some people poke holes in the game being like, yeah, it's like, oh, the game's alright, but it's like, oh, moving forward, oh no, something happens. Oh, moving forward, oh, something happens. Oh, moving forward, something happens. Which is understandable at the same time. Yeah, it's called writing. It's called a story.
That's
like, oh, otherwise it's like, oh, Kratos has to go do a thing. He walks there with no issue, and then that's how it ends.
Yeah.
But no, you got to have conflict. You have these other things, and like that's what the thing is. Like Kratos wants nothing to do with any of that bullshit, but unfortunately, they do. Like they fuck around and found out. Like, and that's what happens in that.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about the Blades of Chaos, just before we move on, is like Chris told me about this too. It's the same combos from the original God of War. Like, so if you
Oh,
know those
cool.
button combinations, you can use those same combos in 2018.
That's cool. That's cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
No, the bad thing is I kind of forgot what the hell I was gonna try to pitch. I totally forgot what I was gonna pitch. Because like
God
you
of
did,
War, yeah.
Cyberpunk, but it's good now.
no, because I was trying to because as soon as Ollie, as soon as you started pitching, because I kind of already pitched the Spider-Man thing. I could like kind of talk about Spider-Man and be like, that's coming out. But then like obviously Nintendo, PlayStation. Okay, well obviously I need to go Xbox. Well, what can I pitch for Xbox? And the bad thing is, no, because Xbox has what's classified as a fuck ton of developers under their umbrella right now. You know what? Rob this.
It's Halo Infinite, but it's good now.
Okay, first off, Halo Infinite was never bad because it was never released. First and foremost.
I liked that Halo Infinite trailer. Like, I thought it was cool.
Okay. So, Microsoft, Bethesda. Oh boy steps out. Xbox has been doing a lot of great things. And here is what you can expect. Coming this year, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series, or the Xbox family of consoles. And they go into it. They start rolling through all the credits. They start showing Forza DLC. They start showing all of the Game Pass stuff. They show all of these ridiculous things. So Halo, it actually coming out this year. And they just have Master Chief just being a badass, doing his shit. He's fighting whoever the fuck they're fighting in this goddamn Halo. I honestly can't remember anymore. I think they're still fucking with Cortana or like something to that extent. I feel bad for not remembering. But it's Halo 5 was so crazy. Halo 5 was ridiculous, all right? They did like 17 so much happening. Anyway, but you have the Halo coming out and Halo is going to be great. And it's going to be as you remember it, and it's going to be everything that you want and more from that game. Then as the Microsoft thing rolls out, they're like, "Hey, Bethesda's here. Guess what? Elder Scrolls 6. You get more a goddamn title because now we not only have Bethesda, have Obsidian worked on Fallout New Vegas. Are now working on the next Fallout title. So you get a little teaser of what the Bethesda team has been working on with the next Elder Scrolls game. But more importantly, the next Fallout thing that's not Fallout 76. It's Fallout, but in the great night of Tejas. That's 2 minutes.
Fallout Lone Star.
Fallout, either Lone Star or New Frontier. That's what I was going with. I was in one of those two things. You have Fallout,
All right.
and it's the South. You don't know what, because here's the thing, right? We've dealt with Boston. We've done a lot with California. We've done a lot with like the coast cities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have we fucked around with the Midwest and like going down in Texas, like whether it be in Dallas, whether it be in Houston, whether it be in San Antonio, one of the bigger cities in Texas, like being in Texas and dealing with that, like not having either of those, like not having really either of those two big influences, but having their own, having like some Southern influences and like just that whole Midwestern thing, being able to run with that and like what could this be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm in.
My big question is, what about Starfield?
And Starfield is out now.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what the fuck Starfield is. I keep seeing
None of us
that,
do.
and I was like,
we literally got a
don't know.
logo.
That's the thing. Is
it's
that
Bethesda?
Is it? Yeah. Is it? So it's.
So at that same
Is
conference
like
that Bethesda.
Is it like fucking? Is this supposed to be like Elder
It's Game
Scrolls
Studios.
Space? Is that
Yes,
space?
I think so.
So it's like
Because, but the thing is,
what's it called? What's it called? God, Obsidian did it. Why can't I think of what it's called?
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but
sorry.
the thing is, because they announced both Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 at the same conference with just the logos. So, but they said Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out first, or not Elder Scrolls. Sorry, Starfield's coming out first.
Okay. Then maybe that's what they're working on. Maybe you see that instead of Elder Scrolls. I just know Elder Scrolls has a bigger
Yeah.
pull because obviously people know what the fuck that is.
Oh, for sure.
But
For
it's
sure.
like, I mean, yeah, like I know that one is on the promotional material with Master Chief for the Microsoft Bethesda conference, which by the way is an hour and a half. Is an hour and a half of games and updates. They're going to be talking about Game Pass. They're going to be talking about Halo. They're going to be talking about Bethesda titles. Like, oof.
That's a lot to cram in there.
There's a lot to cram in there, but here's my thing, right? What's the chances of another, like, possible Wolfenstein? I don't know what the fuck they're going to go or where the hell they can go with the story. But, like,
now, like, this is getting into a bit of inside baseball for the games industry, but apparently because of Youngblood and then even Dishonored 2, those two studios were not making much money for Bethesda. But now that they have the backing from Microsoft, I think there's a very big possibility that we can see those two franchises continue.
There is a very we need to play Youngblood, Paul, because Wolfenstein 3 is a very real and very
That's what I've
exciting
heard.
video game.
I haven't played Youngblood, but I've heard that from the ending of or how that game ends.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Probably.
I mean, I've got to say,
like I don't know when we're gonna schedule it because I know you like stream wise. I know like you go what Monday through Thursday.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out because I mean at the end of the day we'll we'll do it on. I have an idea. We'll talk about it offline. But yeah.
But no, from what I'm hearing now, like over the course of like this conversation, like the fact that like in 10 days time when E3 is, like we are getting Breath of the Wild 2, God of War 2, and like Elder Scrolls 6 all coming out this year, and like there is no way we can be disappointed now.
I don't know if Elder Scrolls is gonna be coming out this year, but they're gonna actually show some more shit more than just a title. They're gonna get more
than a logo.
Yeah, more than a logo. Also, I just want fucking Halo. I just want Halo. Like that's purely selfish.
If Infinite's not good, Halo's pretty much done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is their last chance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
Infinite has to be good.
Really, I'm gonna say something. Here's the thing, right? I loved bits and pieces of the Halo universe. Right? So, like, my first actual touchstone to Halo was Halo Reach. Like, that was the first game that I bought, played, and did. That game is still one of my favorite fucking games. Like, I know, like, whatever you combat or like story or controls, blah blah blah. I don't give a shit. Forge World was great because that was how I got into Achievement Hunter with like Awu and they were Pig and Force and all that shit. I loved it, but it was like Halo Reach was like my Halo that I jumped into the first time that I actually Halo 3 ODST. I love. I found out I loved a lot of the stuff that didn't pertain. Like the stuff with Master Chief, I liked and I thought was cool. But like the shit where you got into like what felt like real soldiers, like real people, because Master Chief always feels like a demigod, if that makes sense. Like he just can't be beaten. He's an unstoppable like thing. But then you get into Reach, where you're playing as Noble Six, who is a former soldier, but you have like this people die around you. You have Halo 3 ODST, where you have Buck. And you have, I'm blanking on all the other individuals' names. You play as Rookie, who is replacing a guy who just died on the team, which is very similar to Halo Reach. But in Halo 4, had an opportunity where you got to play as your own Spartan on a different like fire team, and you ran through those missions and you did that, and they had their own cutscenes, their own stuff, where it was like a wholly different Spartan team, completely different from Master Chief. Like, you had the Spartan Palmer, I want to say her name was. She makes an appearance in Halo 4 and Halo 5, but like she's this big badass Spartan who, like, if you read any of the books you might know her, but she's like that's who like your commander is, right? As far as the Spartan teams are concerned. And so like they had a chance go with those games. And like they were like, hey, what if we went away from Master Chief and just like did these other Spartan fire team? It sounded cool. And then Halo 5 came out and it was like, never mind, Master Chief. Fuck you, Master Chief. You don't want your own Spartan, you want Master Chief. Yeah. Like, God damn it, you almost had it. You could have just, it's kind of like Star Wars. Kind of like Star Wars in the sense of like Rey was almost cool because she wasn't tied to anybody. She was just like another person who had force powers. She's tied to Palpatine. What the fuck? Like, bro, it's like there's like 6 people who have midichlorians, which is also a stupid thing, but like, you mean to tell me 7 people in the galaxy can use the Force?
That wasn't even the worst part of Rey, though. The worst part at the end is like, oh, what's your name? Rey. Rey what? Rey Skywalker. Why? Why would you?
If she took
That's
that
a
name,
whole nother
if she
thing.
took that name, here's the thing, right? She takes that name because of Leia, understandable. She takes that name because of Luke, stupid. She trained with Luke for like a fucking week, and he didn't even really train her for that week.
Yeah, she fucking hated him.
That's a whole other podcast that we get Rumble on here for. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, just shy of 3 fucking hours. Albob, congratulations, you have beat Suburbanite Slab for the longest.
Hey.
Will this be the most viewed? Will it be the most liked? Will it be the most commented? We don't know, but what we do know is it is the fucking longest. So ladies and gentlemen, sports fans around the world, thank you guys so very much. But before we get out of here, of course, Albob, in case they missed it at the beginning, because that was such a long time ago, who the fuck are you and where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm Alec Bobko, and I am on a podcast called Waypoint Podcast, where we have shows like the Waypoint Podcast, our general BSing podcast, Waypoints Media Club, where we talk about everything and everything media related, The Grind, which is the cornerstone of our channel, which is a podcast about content creation, which you can see people like FNHPaul on.
I was on there.
Nice. And yeah, it was a very good time. And then our most recent show, which we actually just uploaded an episode today, called Pitch It, where we bring in 3 guests and they pitch about an IP they're very passionate about. So today's episode was all about Batman. You can find that all over on youtube.com/Waypoint Podcast. And if you want to follow my shenanigans, you can follow me on Twitter at Albob875. And Waypoint is also on all podcast services.
You guys are not already. Fucking do it. Over to youtube.com/Waypoint Podcast. Hit that sub button. Absolutely. You guys are doing amazing work. They do a lot of great content. And like, not even, and I make the joke, I was going to make a joke about like, check out the Grind episode that I'm on. But like, legitimately not even counting my own episode. Like, the fact that you guys have such a, like, I'd be lying if I said like, I didn't look at you and a handful of other people and was like, why don't we just do that? Like, I was talking to ProbablyOliver, and I was like, look, me and you can sit here and bullshit with each other all day. But like, what happens if, like, what if we just bring a third person in? Like, what if we just bring another person into the podcast and we just talk to them? And so that way, like, there's always a rotating, but not always, but there's like a rotating chair of like, is it different? Somebody else's opinion, another view topic, not just our 2 ugly mugs. Well, my ugly mug and his beautiful mustache. So, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, please go over there and check. If you're not already, twitter.com/Albob875. Do it. You can check it right now, either in the chat or if you're watching this later on YouTube, you can catch it. Albob, thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate you spending your time with us. Because it's like, it's like an hour and a half, damn near 3 hours later, we're still going.
It's
Love
a
to
blast.
see it. Love to see it.
I love talking games and E3 and hype.
See, this is the thing. This is where, like, at some point, right? At some point, I'm gonna do this show, and it's gonna be me and probably Oliver up top, and then there's just gonna be like 7 or 8 different smaller boxes below us with everybody else that we just like have to bring in for a part 2. Like, it's gonna be you. It's gonna be fucking Suburbanite Slob. I can't. Like, who else did we say we are gonna have to bring in for a part 2?
Gigi, we got to bring back.
Yeah, Gigi for a part 2.
I feel we did Frill House Max dirty because that's the one episode where we went, yeah, we will keep it to an hour, and we kept it. We did Frill House Max dirty. He deserves his extra 2 hours.
He deserves an extra hour. But yeah, that's the thing. So we're gonna have to, like, that's the thing. And we joked about it, but I think we might actually need it. Okay, here's the idea. Pitch it right now on this episode. Will I cut it? I don't know. You know what? I'll talk about it afterwards after we cut this episode. But ladies and gentlemen, sports fans around the world, like I said, if you have not already followed Albob and the Waypoint podcast, please make sure to do that. And of course, my co-host, my companion in chaos himself, probably Oliver. YouTube. All right, no, sorry. Do you upload on YouTube, or is it just Twitch and Twitter? Okay. Twitter.com/probably_Oliver. Twitch.tv/probablyOliver. Over there. Check out his shenanigans. Where right now, what are you playing right now?
Not much. Like, we kind of come between games at the moment. Not decided yet.
In between games. But check out for the latest in this ridiculous man. Will he play Tetris Effect against?
I mean, yeah, I will play Tetris.
Here's the thing, right? There may or may not be a wind that is high and a dessert that is robo that we might need to get on here for our first ever 4-person, just so that way we can talk about them and their YouTube shit and how they are the fakest thing since a Twinkie, and how I'm a villain in their story arc. I am the antagonist for no other reason because god damn is it funny and no one else wants to be their villain. Nobody else wants to be the bad guy for them. They're like, oh, we like them too much. No, fuck them. They're fake. Their friendship is not real. And Robert Highwind is bad at Tetris. You know why I know that? Because this man right here decimated that poor bastard. He didn't stand a chance. So I was watching his Twitch stream and he was like, oh, he was doing some shit. And I was like, oh yeah, it's good you're playing this kids game. And he was like, oh, kids game. How about you? You really want to go? You really want to go? And I was like, before I even had a chance to say some shit about, like, don't make me get Oliver in here. He was like, but you leave Oliver out of this. You don't bring him. I was like, you know better. You know better. You know who I got in my corner. I'll bring Nostalgia on the Rocks on here real fucking fast.
Oh, Nostalgia on the Rocks X co-op comedy. Let's
The funny thing is, we actually, because Robert's whole brand is the virtual couch.
Yep.
Well, when we started Waypoint, we said the digital ottoman. Something like that.
The virtual couch, the digital ottoman,
or the digital love seat, something like that.
Digital love seat. God damn it.
Cyberspace sofa.
God damn it, you good Lord, Ollie. Man, you don't always step up to the plate, but when you do, god damn, do you fucking hit a dinger. You hit a dinger. Cyberspace sofa. Christ. And ladies and gentlemen, I am, of course, your friendly neighborhood Paul. You guys can catch me over on twitter.com/FNH_Paul. Don't follow the other one. You need to get around to deleting that one. And you can find me over on twitch.tv/FNH or youtube.com/ a lot of gobbledygook, because we're trying to hit 100 subs and we need that to do custom URL. So until then, it's got to be some weird stuff. But just search FNHPaul on YouTube. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much. I have an empty glass, so let me fill this back up for our final cheers.
I'm out.
You're out. All right. Just hold the bottom of the glass so they can't see it being empty.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. See, there you go. No,
that's the problem with the 3-hour long podcast.
Future Paul, cut that out. Even though I know damn good well I won't. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for being here. Have a good one. Stay safe.
Cheers.
Cheers.